Chapter 2001. The Star Moon Divine Race's second leader had actually personally come to find Yueh. This was clearly because of a very important matter. Chen Shang, Baihu and the others immediately thought of the Samsara sacrifice. The Samsara sacrifice was extremely important to the higher-ups of the Star Moon Divine Race. Now that the elder had personally come out to look for him, it meant that the time for the Samsara sacrifice was coming. As long as the time for the Samsara sacrifice was up, a surge of energy would descend upon Yueh. If they couldn't find Yueh, once they missed the time for the Samsara sacrifice, it could cause a lot of trouble. In the past, Yueh was very obedient, but ever since Yueh met Chen Shang, she would often run around randomly, and it was very difficult to find her. This time, Star Moon Divine Race came early to find Yueh, to prevent her from missing out. You were left by herself. She said she wants to go back by herself. Although she does not have much strength, her speed is very fast, so there shouldn't be any problems. Quote. Chen Shang said. He couldn't tell anyone about the Samsara sacrifice right now, otherwise, if the Star Moon Divine Race knew about this, they would inevitably do something crazy. Moreover, right now, they were already enemies with the Divine Lion Race. Yi Baidong nodded. Then that's what I'll say to them. Are these three your friends? Why haven't I seen it before? Quote. Yi Baidong only felt that the white tiger looked very familiar to the vermilion bird. Of course, he had heard of the vermilion bird and the white tiger before, he had only seen vague images on some of the ancient books. Chen Shang laughed. They are the seniors white tiger and vermilion bird, they both belonged to the Beast Divine Palace back then. You should have heard of Elder Yi. Quote. This caused Yi Baidong to be greatly shocked, and he immediately bowed to the white tiger and the vermilion bird respectfully. Back then, all Beast Divine Lord had sat down as the second protector, and that was an extremely famous existence. What about this person? Yi Baidong looked at Zhang Sheng and asked. I am from the Nine Heaven world, and I am just a nameless nobody. Don't you treat me as some senior. You are my senior, that's more like it. Zhang Sheng chuckled. These words made Yi Baidong smile. Those who come are guests, furthermore, you are Chen Zhang's friends, so you are mine. Elder Yi, you guys have discussed how you would deal with the assault of the Divine Lion Race. It just so happens that Senior White Tiger has his own debts to settle with Divine Lion Race. Feng Yuji said. Yi Baidong nodded his head. Then, I will bring the two seniors to see Hall Master. The White Tiger and Vermilion Bird followed Yi Baidong to meet Mu Chen. As far as they were concerned, with these two divine beasts here, they wouldn't have to worry too much when the Divine Lion Race attacks them. Yi Baidong was only curious about how much power the White Tiger and Vermilion Bird had recovered after their rebirth. This was because the White Tiger and Vermilion Bird back then were extremely terrifying existences. I will take a walk around this city myself and then head over to that Beast Divine Palace to take a look. Cough cough, do you have Shenyuan stone? I just came to this place, and you know it. Zhang Sheng laughed. Feng Yuji took out 5 million Shenyuan stone and gave it to him. Don't spend it randomly. If there's news of Qi Shi, you must come back quickly and tell us. Seeing how straightforward Feng Yuji was, Zhang Sheng laughed. As expected of the Nine Heavens goddess, you're so generous. They could easily earn that much. To sell 100 regeneration dan today, that was 100 million Shenyuan stone, and tomorrow, they still had to continue selling. In the hall, there were only Chen Shang, Feng Yuji and Shui Bingyan. Chen Shang had not completely recovered, but Shui Bingyan was still massaging him. What are you worried about? Feng Yuji could see through Chen Zhang's thoughts. I'm most worried about her right now. Chen Shang said, I was worried that Star Moon Divine Race would find her and try again. Shui Bingyan was also worried, and said, how about we go find her? I have a way to find her, that way we can protect her. Although every day's preparations is for that competition, Little Moon is more important. You and Bingyan can go find Yuer together, and I am not at ease with her. She doesn't have any strength at the moment, and Star Moon Divine Race will definitely know her like the palm of his hand. Feng Yuji said. After being together with Yueh for a while, she was also extremely fond of Yueh. Chen Shang nodded his head. When I'm fully recovered, we will leave immediately. He took out more than 20 Dao Heartstone S and gave them to Feng Yuji. These are the Dao Heartstone S. When the time comes and I haven't come back yet, you should send some out based on the situation. Hall Master and Elder Yi must give it to them, and there are still the 3 senior brothers Ji. As for Hall Master and that Xiao Chongla, you should have already made your decision long ago. Chen Shang said. Tao Heartstones were extremely precious to cultivators who wanted to control the power of the great Tao. As long as they had one, they could make themselves stronger. At first, when Chen Shang assured Yue, he let her leave on her own, because they didn't know that samsara sacrifice would arrive so soon. Samsara sacrifice was a matter that concerned the advancement of the powers of the higher-ups in the Star Moon divine race, and other than that, they paid more attention to Yue obtaining the power of Star Moon descent, as it was extremely possible for Yue to awaken all her memories. Now that Chen Shang knew that the Star Moon divine race's second leader had personally come to find Yue, he started to worry secretly. All these years, their samsara sacrifice had gone smoothly, so the Star Moon divine race must have some methods to find Yue. Therefore, he must find Yue quickly and bring her to hide. He wanted her to undergo a baptism. Even if she didn't awaken her memories, she would definitely become very strong. Feng Yuji lightly caressed Chen Zhang's face, encouraging him, "You must get Yue back. She's one of us, you definitely can't let her endure that kind of pain again." "Definitely." Chen Shang kissed her cherry lips and firmly laughed. Very quickly, Yi Baidong received news that the Star Moon divine race's elder had left in a very nervous manner after learning of Yue's departure. Chen Shang only recovered at night, so he also brought Shui Bingyan and left Heroes Gathering Divine City at night. "Bing Yan, how do you know where Yue is?" Chen Shang asked. "Water. There is water vapor in the world, but you can't see it. Therefore, Yue is always in contact with water, and she will also participate in some of the auras that fuse with the water. I only need to sense it and I will be able to tell." Yue chuckled. "I can already sense it. Let's go this way." Using this method, Shui Bingyan was able to sense Yue's trace, which also made Chen Shang less worried. At the very least, they could quickly find Yue. Chen Shang brought Shui Bingyan and carried out a spatial legend without stopping for 3 days straight. Yue ran really fast. She just left us not long ago, but I chased her for 3 days and still couldn't catch up. Chen Shang could not help but exclaim at Yue's speed. She was simply too fast, but this was also a good thing. At the very least, the elders of the Star Moon divine race would not be able to catch up to her. Just when Chen Shang thought so, Shui Bingyan said, "Not good, there are other beasts' auras in front, and they are very strong." He is now in his human form. After sensing it, Shui Bingyan opened up her palm. There, on top of her palm, was a little person formed from water vapor. This was the little person she saw just now. Could this fellow be the second in command of the Star Moon divine race? Chen Shang frowned. "We have to hurry up and catch up. This guy is even faster than us, and he seems to be able to track Yue." Chapter 2002. After learning that the elders from the Star Moon divine race had come to capture Yue, Chen Shang and Shui Bingyan became even more anxious and advanced forward at full speed. They probably used some secret methods to track Yue after finding out that Yue had left. Using this kind of secret technique might have had some effect on them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come to the Heroes Gathering Divine City to look for Yue previously, and would have been following her directly. Chen Shang analyzed in his heart. He guessed that after the clan elder used a secret technique, there was a high chance that his power would drop. If this elder was really the Star Moon divine race's second leader, then his power must be very strong. Even Shui Bingyan would not be able to deal with him. At that time, not only would he not be able to save Yue, he might even be killed. Chen Shang advanced at full speed. In merely half a day's time, Shui Bingyan had already sensed that Yue was nearby. "Elder brother Shen, you can stop now. That old man is already with Yue," Shui Bingyan said. Even though she was innocent, she knew that it was not good to be discovered by the other party. After Chen Shang stopped, he used the space domain S to envelop both him and Shui Bingyan, preventing them from being discovered by the other party. This place was filled with black boulders and strange stones that spanned 1,000 miles. Chen Shang only found out that these black boulders were star fragments that had fallen from the sky after he had felt a trace of star power from these stones. "Yue stopped here," Shui Bingyan said. Chen Shang suddenly understood that the elder of the Star Moon divine race did not have the ability to track Yue. He had only guessed that Yue would come to this place because there were countless pieces of stars here that could very likely be related to Yue. He could also tell from the fragments of the stars that these boulders had existed for a very long time. There were still traces of star power inside them. It was obvious that the stars that had fallen here were not ordinary stars. "Yue, now is not the time to be grumpy. Something big has happened within the clan. Furthermore, you have been out for so long, and everyone has missed you. You must go back now. Chen Shang heard the old voice. The voice sounded extremely benevolent, it did not seem to be scheming at all. I'm not going back right now. I want to stay here for a while longer. Elder, go back and tell them that I miss them very much. When my mood is better, I will naturally go back. Yu was also very clear. She didn't directly ask this elder about the samsara sacrifice, because she was very clear that if she asked now, there would definitely be no good ending, and she would definitely be caught. That was why she pretended that she didn't know anything and fought with this elder. Seeing that Ua was adamant on not returning, this elder did not suspect anything, but was a little angry, because the time for the samsara sacrifice was about to come. If he could not kill Ua at that time, the living Ua would obtain those powers. You no matter what, you must return with me today. The elder's expression darkened as he solemnly said, if you don't obediently return with me, then I can only forcefully bring you back. Although it was daytime, and the sky was only a blue sky, Ua could see a spirit. She suddenly meowed and said, before, did I do this many times? Every time I come here, I don't want to go back. Hearing this, the elder's body trembled as he blankly stared at Yu who was squatting on top of a black rock. Yu wagged her tail, continuing, this is my sudden feeling, this feeling is very familiar, it is as if I have experienced it many times. Chen Shang was also very nervous at this moment. If Ua said something like that, this elder would definitely strike with killing intent. Come back with me. After the elder recovered from his shock, he gave a loud shout and waved his hand, forming a huge white net. Just as it was about to envelop Ua, the black stone that Ua was sitting on turned red and burst into a blinding red light. Chen Shang, who was standing far away, was extremely shocked. Star Blood Shield, the elder shouted in alarm. The net he released was empty, and he didn't catch Ua. At this moment, she was squatting on another black stone. Ua lightly said, so this is the Star Blood Shield. It's a very familiar name. Chen Shang, who was originally very nervous, was now secretly overjoyed. It could be seen that Ua's memories were gradually recovering. This is happening again. It seemed that they had already experienced this before. Ua would eventually awaken some memories before the arrival of the samsara sacrifice. Ua suddenly asked in a mocking tone, how many more days until samsara sacrifice comes? All these years, you have carried on so many times yet you only have this little power. You all are useless. I really have died so many times for nothing. Hearing Ua's words, the elder was surprised at first, but after thinking about it carefully, Ua did not awaken her memories, so her knowledge of the samsara sacrifice should have been told to her by someone else. Who told you these things? Since you already know about the samsara sacrifice, then I don't need to hide it anymore. The elder took out a disc that looked like an incredible treasure. Only the few of us elders and clan leaders know about the samsara sacrifice. I am very curious, who exactly told you? Did you believe what All Beast Divine Lord told me? Ua laughed coldly, Wu Kang, you people have been here for so many years, don't tell me you don't feel the slightest bit guilty. No, because your sacrifice will allow us to obtain great power, and not long after, all of us will become Divine Lord. The elder called Wu Kang said expressionlessly, but we will thank you in our hearts. This is because without the samsara sacrifice, we will definitely not be able to break through and would only be eliminated. Using you, Xingyu, to obtain powerful strength is a tradition of the Star Moon Divine race for many years. Ua said angrily, the only one who benefits is you, right? It has nothing to do with the entire Star Moon Divine race. Wu Kang scoffed, who said there isn't? If not for our power, how would Star Moon Divine race be on equal footing with the other three great god clans? Yu's eyes suddenly turned red as she shouted, if you don't kill me that many times, with my current strength, let alone being on equal footing with the other three god race, we won't have a problem forcing them to surrender. It is precisely because you are strong that we want to kill you even more. Your rise will only threaten our position, Wu Kang said cruelly as he threw out the disc in his hand. Chapter 2003. The moment the disc flew out, it shone with a white light, shining on Ua's body. Ua originally wanted to use the Star Blood Shield, but who would have thought that after the white light shot over, it had turned into a small white cage. This cage was created by Divine Lord Xingyu and the few elders years ago and was specially designed to deal with you. We have used it many times over the years, and every time, you were unable to escape. Don't worry, when we kill you will not feel any pain. Wu Kang walked over and picked up the cage as he laughed. It was obvious that during all these years, Yue had not been obedient until now, which was why she refined such a magical equipment specifically to deal with her. Yue, who was trapped in the cage, struggled and screamed, but couldn't come out. Yue could use the power of the space laws, but she couldn't use them in her cage right now. The Samsara sacrifice is about to start. There are still 10 days. Wu Kang lifted up the cage, and laughed at Yue. Little darling, behave yourself, and take the chance to enjoy it properly. After a while, you will forget about all these. As long as they completed Samsara sacrifice, and waited for Yue to be reborn, they would take away this memory and let Yue continue to live as she had in the past. Yue wouldn't know either, and the clan members inside Star Moon Divine Race wouldn't notice. This meant that Yue's memories would be searched once, and everything regarding her and Chen Shang would be exposed by then. This was something Yue didn't want to see happen, and what made her heart ache was that she didn't want to lose the memory she had with Shui Bingyan, Chen Shang, and the others. This memory was extremely precious to her. Bingyan, do it. Chen Shang sent a sound transmission to Shui Bingyan, and she was ready for it. Upon hearing the sound transmission from Chen Shang, she immediately used her strongest power, and her entire body erupted with blue light. Wu Kang and Yue both suddenly sensed an extremely terrifying icy cold power. After Yue sensed this familiar aura, she was ecstatic in her heart, but she was also a little worried because she knew Wu Kang's strength. She was worried that Shui Bingyan wouldn't be able to handle it. Shui Bingyan and Wu Kang were separated by a long distance, but Shui Bingyan was able to use a very mysterious method to seal Wu Kang's wife with ice just a short distance away from him. Chen Shang took advantage of this moment to retrieve the cages that held Yue. Then, he quickly teleported away with Shui Bingyan. Just as Chen Shang had teleported away, a very strong explosion occurred at the place he was originally at, and in an instant, it turned into a huge crater. Shui Bingyan's ice seal could only freeze Wu Kang for an extremely short period of time, but it was enough for Chen Shang to save Yue. I can beat him, Shui Bingyan said in a low voice. We can't fight him even if we can. Our goal is to save Yue. Chen Shang brought her and teleported. Although Shui Bingyan said that, but after the fight breaks out between Shui Bingyan and Yu Yang, maybe the elders from the Star Moon Divine Race will come to support them. At that time, Shui Bingyan will not be able to fight everywhere. Chen Shang was very confident in his escaping abilities, adding that he had concealed his own presence, that Wu Kang was definitely unable to discover him. When he was near Shui Bingyan, Wu Kang did not notice anything, but what infuriated Wu Kang the most was that he did not know who saved Yue, nor did he leave any trace of his presence behind. 3 days had passed, and Chen Shang did his best to teleport for 3 days. He had already returned to the Supreme Divine Palace, but he did not go there because he felt that it was not safe enough. In the basement of the 10th Dan Hall, Chen Shang took Yue out from the cage. This is great, I have this thing that is specifically meant to catch you in my hands. Let's see how they will catch you in the future. Chen Shang smiled, looked at the round plate in his hand, and then put it away. Yue threw herself into Shui Bingyan's embrace, and Shui Bingyan held her tightly. Chen Shang, thank you. Little Moon looked at her gratefully. There's no need to be polite. We're friends. Oh right, why did you go there? That old man clearly knew where you would go. Chen Shang said. I don't know either, I just felt that I was suddenly going there, which was why I went there. Who knew that he would suddenly come? Yue said, when I went to that place, a very familiar feeling suddenly emerged in my mind. The star blood shield that I used previously was also a memory that came from that time. Shui Bingyan asked. Then if you want to recover your memories, are you going to that place as well? That place had definitely been sent by Wu Kang and the others to search for it, so they definitely could not return there. Yue shook her head. I don't know either. Right now, I feel that even if I don't search through those memories, it doesn't matter. It's enough to have the memories of the two of you together. Yue only felt that the memories she had with Chen Shang and the others were real. Previously, the memories she had were all injected into others and had been modified. When Chen Shang returned, he had covered the cage with something, and it was at night, so no one had discovered him. Now, he definitely could not let Yue show herself casually, if not, the Star Moon Divine Race would definitely do everything he could to catch her. Feng Yuji immediately returned to the 10th hall when he found out that Chen Shang had returned. When Feng Yuji saw Yue flying over, he hurriedly wrapped her up. Then, He lovingly stroked her fur. I won't make you worry anymore. Yue and Feng Yuji's relationship was also very good, just like Shui Bingyan, as if they were relatives. Chen Shang laughed. Fortunately, I can still make it to the competition. Feng Yuji said. Because multiple powers are fighting at the same time, there's a delay in time. The competition starts in a month, and there's still plenty of time. Chen Shang, can you help me go to that place to find something? I feel that there is something extremely important there, so every time samsara sacrifice is about to arrive, that thing would always call for me to go to that place. Wu Kang and the others probably don't know about this. Yue felt that restoring her memories wasn't important anymore, but she desperately needed more powerful energy. She needed people she could protect right now, so Feng Yuji and Shui Bingyan might be implicated because they were together. Alright, Yue was also aware that it was very safe for Chen Shang to travel alone. In order to help Yue, Chen Shang would definitely not delay it, and he hoped that Yue would be able to wield a powerful strength. Chapter 2004. After Chen Shang and Shui Bingyan saved Yue, Wu Kang, the second in command of the Star Moon Divine Race, started to attack crazily in the Star Graveyard. He didn't know who saved Yue, but before he could even see her, the other party had disappeared without a trace. Yue had disappeared, and furthermore, they already knew about the matters of the samsara sacrifice. Furthermore, there were still powerful friends helping her, which made the higher-ups of the Star Moon Divine Race extremely worried, because if they didn't find Yue before the arrival of the samsara sacrifice, they might be facing Yue's revenge in the future. Wu Kang, you have always been extremely cautious, but at this critical moment, you made a mistake. Now, the little thing's whereabouts was unknown, and the only cage that you could grab was also taken. An old man stomped his feet in anger. Although he was not as strong as Wu Kang, he could not help but scold Wu Kang when he was angry. Wu Kang's expression was extremely ugly as he said in a cold voice, "You can't blame me for this. For all these years, you have often miscalculated the matters of the samsara sacrifice, and I was the one who saved them at every critical moment. This time, it's also your responsibility, and also the time of the samsara sacrifice. Samsara sacrifice's time is unstable, how could it be so easy to calculate? Back then, it was also because of the frequent miscalculations of the Star Moon Divine Lord and the others that they refined that cage in order to catch the little thing more easily. Now that the cage is gone, even if we find the little thing, it would still be difficult to catch it." The old man retorted, "Calculating the time in the samsara sacrifice is originally uncontrollable, but you grabbed onto the little thing so easily. You made a mistake on this matter, it's your responsibility. If something were to happen, they would not think of a way to solve it. Instead, they would criticize one another and evade responsibility. Compared to them, they were all worried that they would be blamed by that clan chief. Don't tell this to the patriarch for now. If he knows that Lil Thing and the cage have been lost, we'll all be in trouble." Wu Kang also knew that now was not the time to argue, so they had to hurry up and think of a way to get Yue back. The old man said, "What can you do? We don't have any leads right now. There are too many gods that are using the power of the ice. Where are we going?" Wu Kang said. "To the Supreme Divine Palace." Lil Thing went to the Supreme Divine Palace earlier, investigate who she has been in contact with, and then start from there. Go with the rest of you. Supreme Divine Palace's Mu Chen is famous for protecting Lil Thing. At that time, even if you find out who is related to Lil Thing, I think he will protect you. For the sake of protecting a little imp, he would definitely form a huge grudge with the Prince Divine Lions. As one of the god clans, they definitely knew about it. For them right now, the Supreme Divine Palace was the only clue they had. Even if it was Mu Chen who offended the Supreme Divine Palace, they would have to do it. After all, if they were to face the strong experts of the Supreme Divine Palace alone, they would feel unconfident. Wu Kang did not go, but rather, stayed in the Star Graveyard. Every time the samsara sacrifice was about to start over the years, Yue would always come to this place. He had this doubt a long time ago, but he could catch Yue in the past and search her memories for information. However, this time, Yue ran away, so he decided to carefully explore this star graveyard to see what secrets were hidden here. Chen Shang rested inside the Supreme Divine Palace for a day, then left to head towards the star graveyard. Originally, Shui Bingyan wanted to go with him, but he was still somewhat worried, so he let Shui Bingyan accompany Yue. After all, Shui Bingyan was very strong, and she said that she could fight with the Hall Master herself. Before he left, Chen Shang had also learned something about that place from Yue. Yue had told him that that place was called the Star Graveyard, and was extremely famous in the Star Moon Divine race. It was just that according to the legends, there were many stars that had appeared in that place for unknown reasons, and had existed there for many years. But Yue had said that there was something there that was calling her, which was why she had asked Chen Shang to look for it. It took Chen Shang 5 days to reach the Star Graveyard. He didn't need to flee, he also slowed down when he came, and started to conceal himself when he was near the Star Graveyard. He could sense the remnant of an aura in the surroundings from afar, which was the result of Wu Kang's reckless attacks when he was angry. This old fellow should still be here. Chen Shang was extremely cautious. He released his probability divine soul and flew into the air, then looked down at the ground. Soon after, he discovered that Wu Kang was sitting on top of a large black boulder. Yue also didn't know where the thing that was calling her was, so Chen Shang needed to search for it bit by bit. It was extremely difficult, not to mention that Wu Kang was still at that place. Chen Shang did not enter the Star Graveyard. He was worried that he would be discovered by Wu Kang. 2 days had passed and Wu Kang still hadn't left. He had already exchanged for a few large rocks, and he had even broken quite a few of them. What is he doing? Is he looking for something? Chen Shang was shocked. He did not wish for Wu Kang to find the thing that called Yue. Chen Shang couldn't care so much now. He quietly entered the Star Graveyard. He didn't know how to look for it, he could only use his own mystical techniques. The Chaos Divine Eye and the Source Spirit Eyes allowed him to see things that were difficult to see with his naked eyes. He had just used the Chaos Divine Eye, but he did not discover anything, and after using the Chaos Divine Eye to search for more than 2 hours, he did not find anything, and then used the Source Spirit Eyes. I wonder if the Chaos Divine Eye and the Source Spirit Eyes can be merged together. Chen Zhang's heart stirred. He immediately used the Philosophic Stone and began to comprehend the 2 methods. He wanted to find a fusion point from within. Let's leave this place first, we don't want any disturbance when we merge together. Chen Shang immediately left the Star Graveyard. Before he left, he also paid attention to Wu Kang. This Wu Kang was still looking for something, but he did not discover anything. After leaving the Star Graveyard, Chen Shang once again calmed down and tried to comprehend the 2 cultivation techniques used to cultivate the eyes. The 2 techniques had something in common, but the usage of the 2 techniques were different. Chapter 2005. Although Chen Shang was far away from the Star Graveyard, he could still hear waves of muffled booms that were accompanied by the shaking of the earth. It was clear that Wu Kang was smashing apart the black boulders, wanting to see what was hidden inside. Wu Kang also lost his patience. Previously, he was still probing with the stones, but after more than 10 days, he did not discover anything, so he was now floating in the air. He used his powerful strength to destroy a large area, shattering the pieces of the stars. Chen Shang was very worried that Wu Kang would discover something, and right now, he had already made progress on the 2 methods of fusing the Chaos Divine Eye and the Source Spirit Eyes. He was immersed in the cultivation method combination practice, and 2 days had passed before he knew it. At this time, the sky had just brightened. He opened his eyes and faintly smiled. He should have succeeded. When he was in the forest, he immediately used this newly merged technique to look around him. When he saw the trees, he could clearly see the energy circulating and the water circulating inside the trees. I didn't consume too much energy, and now I have directly consumed my 6 realms power. Moreover, I have also fused the effects of the Chaos Divine Eye and the Source Spirit Eyes. Other than that, I can see much more clearly than before. Chen Shang closed his eyes and stopped the technique. Let's call it Dao Heart Eye. Because when he was looking, not only did he use his eyes to look, he also used his heart to look. Chen Shang familiarized himself for a moment, and then activated Dao Heart Eye once again. This time, he was not only startled, because when he used his full strength, he could actually see all sorts of different colored things around him. Some were ribbon spinning, some were spiraling, some were globes, some were pulsing like flames, some were flowing like a river, flowing in all directions, and some were like a suspended spider web that covered the entire land. After activating the Dao Heart Eye with all of his strength, the entire world had fallen into this multicolored world. He only felt that when he went to another world, he would be surrounded by all kinds of strange shapes and colors, with floating objects in all 4 directions. This should be the divine energy of the fire attribute. Chen Shang looked at the small, flickering clusters of flame floating back and forth. It was pitifully few in number here, especially when compared to the large amount of blue mist. Chen Shang used his fingertip to absorb a bit of it, and he could feel that it was water attributed. No wonder Shui Bingyan was so powerful. In this world, water-attributed energy was the strongest. There were originally only a few types of elemental energy in the world, but over the years, they had undergone various collisions and fuses, resulting in the birth of all sorts of elemental energy. If I were to compare them, perhaps they would be able to give birth to a Tao spirit. Chen Shang saw an extremely glaring flame in the distance. It was a ball of fire-type divine spirit chi that had gathered together and was gradually fusing together, preparing to merge into one. He kept his Tao heart eye and then closed his eyes to take a few deep breaths. To be able to see so much energy of this world and this existence made him extremely excited. We can leave for that place now. That old fellow probably hasn't found it yet. Chen Shang could still hear the rumbling sounds. He had not found the thing that was hidden inside the star graveyard. Chen Shang quietly snuck over and arrived at the star graveyard. Originally, there were many gigantic shattered rocks here, but they had all become small now and had already been flattened by more than half of Wu Kang's effort over the past few days. When Chen Shang arrived, he immediately used the Tao Heart Eye. He split the Tao Heart Eye into 3 layers, and the first layer allowed him to directly see through the things that were moving inside, such as the paths of energy flow inside the plants, while the second layer allowed him to see the spirit blood and the like. This was only used when refining pills. And the third level was where one could see the natural power of the great Tao in the world, just like before. Now that he was using his second layer of strength, he could see things that could be seen on the second layer. Moreover, he needed to see things even more thoroughly than his source spirit eyes, and he felt that it was enough to find the things that were hidden here. When he used the second stage of the Tao Heart Eye's power, he could see that there were many white and light yellow floating clouds. These faint clouds of air were originally made from the power of the stars, and were originally hidden inside the black boulders. He could clearly see the various large and small black rocks on the ground. The stones seemed to have blood vessels and meridians, and a faint white or yellow energy flowed within them. The veins in the rocks would intertwine, so they could circulate within the rocks. What Chen Shang found strange was that although these stones had already been broken, there was still a large amount of star power that had yet to flow out from within the stones and continued to circulate. It was not easy to find things inside stones of all sizes, furthermore he had to avoid being discovered by Wu Kang. This star graveyard was also very large. Wu Kang was currently destroying them on the other side, while Chen Shang was searching this area. Even though he did not find them, he had discovered some strange phenomena. For example, the star power inside the stone would not flow out of the stone, unless the stone was completely broken down. For example, the star power inside the stone would not flow out of the stone, unless the stone was completely broken down. After careful observation, Chen Shang found another shocking phenomenon. It was that a large amount of star power that was scattered all over the place was revolving at an extremely slow speed, just like the Milky Way. If he did not use the Tao Heart Eye to observe carefully, it would be difficult to discover it just by relying on his senses. This should be a circular whirlpool. If that's the case, then the center of the whirlpool must be hiding something, which is why it can cause so many stars to revolve. Chen Shang was suddenly secretly happy in his heart. If it was really like this, then it was very likely that the thing was not hiding inside the rock. Instead, it was underground, and it was even more likely that it was underground. It was because the object could produce a weak force to drive the star power to rotate, but the speed of the rotation was extremely slow. It was obvious that the power of the object was obstructed. After Chen Shang observed the rotation of the whirlpool, he found a direction and walked towards the center. As long as he got near, he might be able to see the center of the whirlpool. It's clear that he is absorbing the star power, but the rate at which he is absorbing it is very slow. Wu Kang is the second in command of the Star Moon Divine race, so he should be the one cultivating the star power as well, but he did not realize that the power he had obtained was all from the samsara sacrifice. This has caused him to gradually lose his most acute perception of the star power. Chen Shang guessed that when he got closer, he could already see the center. Chapter 2006. Chen Shang made some important discoveries, but he did not let his guard down, and continued to be cautious of that Wu Kang. Just as he neared the center of the vortex, he sensed that something had entered his spatial perception. Other than Wu Kang, there was no one else here. When Wu Kang came over, he immediately turned into a black stone. Who is here? Although you have hidden yourself well, I have already discovered you. Wu Kang arrived here very quickly, but he did not discover anything. He was sure that he wasn't mistaken. Just now, he had sensed traces of aura fluctuations. Being so cautious was within Chen Zhang's expectations, so he was not surprised. He was already lying quietly on the ground like a rock, and Wu Kang did not notice him. Right now, Chen Shang was close to the center of the vortex of star power. Even though Wu Kang had arrived here, he did not discover the vortex. Could it be that my senses were wrong? Wu Kang muttered as he looked around him. The surroundings were completely flat and there was no way to hide, and there was even a trace of other people's aura, which he could clearly feel. Wu Kang flew to another place to investigate, then became a smaller stone, controlling himself to float slowly towards the vortex. Not long after, Chen Shang arrived at the center of the whirlpool. Upon arriving here, as long as one gave it a careful sensing, one would realize that a weak portion of the star power was being slowly absorbed by something below. Just as Chen Shang was about to leave, Wu Kang flew back. No wonder I sensed movement here just now. So the star power here is being gathered by something. It's just that because it's too weak, I didn't notice it before. Wu Kang descended to the ground and looked at the center of the vortex with furrowed brows. In truth, there was nothing here, it was just that when Chen Shang used the Dao Heart Eye, he could see the movement of the star power here, while Wu Kang could feel it through his senses. Chen Shang scolded himself in his heart. Right now, Wu Kang was right beside him, and Wu Kang did not know that there was a rock that had turned into a person right next to his feet. The center of Wu Kang's palm faced that whirlpool, and condensed into a ball of white light. After a boom sound, the ground trembled, rocks and dirt flew everywhere, and the place turned into a huge pit. Chen Shang anxiously teleported high up in the sky. Looking down from the sky, he could see that there was a triangular slab of stone within the pit. There were spirit grains on it and it was emitting a weak light. After the stone tablet was exposed, large amounts of star power crazily flowed into it, causing the spirit grain on the triangular stone tablet to emit even more intense rays of light. The stellar hell, Wu Kang shouted in alarm, and his face was full of fear. Chen Shang also felt that something was wrong. Seeing Wu Kang fleeing so quickly, he immediately teleported as well. With how powerful Wu Kang was, to even fear this thing, it could be seen that this stone was extremely dangerous. As the two of them were fleeing, they suddenly felt a suction force on them. It was also at this time that Chen Shang, who had somehow turned into stone, turned back into his human form. "Who are you?" Wu Kang saw Chen Shang, because both he and Chen Shang were being pulled towards the triangular flagstone. Chen Shang did not reply, but did his best to activate the Six Realms power, to help himself break free from the suction force, because if he continued absorbing, he would be swallowed by the stone. "Was that little thing saved by you? What a clever concealment technique. I was by my side the whole time, but I didn't notice it. Don't struggle anymore, we'll definitely be sucked in." Wu Kang's face became sinister. "Although I'm being sucked in, I'm not dead. At most, I'll just be trapped inside, but before I go in, I'm going to kill you." Wu Kang raised his hand and released a powerful white light towards Chen Shang. When Chen Shang flew over, he felt a scorching chi and became terrified. However, this force was absorbed by the triangular flagstone in the middle of the process. Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief. He did not have the slightest understanding towards that stone tablet. All he knew was that Wu Kang had called it Star Hell. The triangle slate absorbed the force that Wu Kang used to hit it, causing an even stronger suction force, allowing Chen Shang and Wu Kang to be pulled towards it quickly. Approaching the stone tablet, Chen Zhang's vision went black, and then appeared in a world with a dusky sky. After swallowing Chen Shang and Wu Kang, the triangle slate sucked all the broken rocks and soil over and buried himself deep underground again, as if he had a mind of his own. "Old bastard, if you hadn't violently blasted that thing out, we wouldn't have come to this damned place." After Chen Shang arrived at this place, he realized that his Six Realms power could not leave his body at all. As long as it left his body, it would immediately be absorbed. Wu Kang was also like this, as he was from the Star-Moon divine race, and naturally trained in the power of the stars and moon, which was very strong as well, and he was still too godly with about 20 divine deity. The power of the stars and moon in the divine sense sea was very vast, but no matter how hard he tried, the moment the power of the star and moon left his body, it would immediately lose control and sink into the ground beneath his feet. If a large amount of the power of the stars and moon appeared in the divine sense sea, it would all be drawn out of his body. "Human brat, what sort of origin do you have? After saving this little thing, you actually came back to search for the things hidden here. What secret did this little thing tell you? Wu Kang was also very angry at this moment. He was several tens of meters away from Chen Shang, and when he asked, he had already rushed towards Chen Shang with quick steps. Wu Kang could not use his valiant power of the moon and stars, but he was extremely confident in the strength of his own body. His current speed was also very fast, and like a gust of wind, he flew over, and his hand that was like a sharp and powerful eagle claw, fiercely grabbed towards Chen Zhang's throat with lightning speed. Old bastard, let out a cold laugh. His fist was as fast as lightning, the supreme god bone allowed his body to wield a strong and dense power, his reaction was also extremely fast. He dodged in a flash, and smashed his fist onto Wu Kang's face. Bang! Chen Zhang's fist was extremely ruthless as it smashed from the side into Wu Kang's skinny old face, causing a loud sound to ring out. Wu Kang's teeth were also knocked out a few times, and he was sent flying while spitting out blood. Wu Kang never thought that the human Chen Shang would have such a strong and robust body. With such power, he rarely fought with humans and usually, he would only fight with beasts, so in his eyes, humans were usually many times weaker than beasts. But now, Wu Kang's attack that was launched at such a fast speed was actually avoided by Chen Shang. At the same time that Chen Shang dodged, he gave him a heavy punch. Chapter 2007, You Are Not Human. Although Wu Kang punched Wu Kang, he could still quickly crawl back up and cover his face as he shouted towards Chen Shang. Then, he spat out the blood and broken teeth in his mouth. You're not human, don't think of humans as weak. Chen Shang snorted. Wu Kang was an elder of the Star Moon Divine race, a strong star and crescent beast. Wu Kang found it hard to believe and rushed over once again. Impossible, a human's body is not that strong. What kind of beast are you? Previously, Wu Kang had been careless and got hit by Chen Shang because of that. Now, he knew that Chen Shang also had a decent amount of strength, so he was on guard. Being unable to use Six Realms power, Chen Zhang's power had been restricted greatly, but he felt that it was still possible to deal with this Wu Kang. Back when he was at Nine Heaven World, he had already learned a few offensive techniques that specialized in using the power of the fleshly body. This time, Wu Kang's attack was changed to a palm strike. He did not have any sort of palm technique, but his palm strike speed was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, it had already landed on Chen Zhang's body. This time, Wu Kang struck Chen Shang. His palm was extremely strong. Just as he was about to punch out, Chen Shang suddenly grabbed his wrist. Wu Kang was startled, because this was not what he expected. Originally, he thought that if he struck Chen Shang with his palm, Chen Shang would be injured to a certain degree, and that he would be able to defeat him in one go. When Chen Shang grabbed Wu Kang, he sneered and then directly slapped Wu Kang with his palm. Pa! With a crisp sound, Chen Shang gave Wu Kang a very vicious slap on his face. His old face was swollen just a moment ago, and now he had even slapped it ruthlessly. Old bastard, this is for you. When Chen Shang thought about Yue, he became extremely furious. He kicked at Wu Kang's abdomen, causing him to scream in pain. Tell me honestly, where did Yue come from and why did Divine Lord Xingyu use such a method to deal with her? Chen Zhang's finger was like a sword, instantly tapping dozens of times on Wu Kang's body, causing the bones of his veins to be broken. Although Chen Shang asked, he did not give Wu Kang the chance to reply, as he frantically slapped Wu Kang's face, to the point where Wu Kang was stunned. Roar! Suddenly, a white light flashed on Wu Kang's body, and turned into a golden tiger, roaring madly at Chen Shang. So his original form was a tiger. Chen Shang was not afraid in the slightest as he jumped over. Both of his feet kicked frantically, and the shadows of his feet were like a torrential storm. When Wu Kang transformed into a tiger, his body became even bigger and clumsy. Furthermore, after being beaten up by Chen Shang, his reaction became even slower, and he was unable to dodge at all. In just an instant, the tiger head was kicked by Chen Shang over 100 times, until he fell to the ground. Wu Kang then transformed back into his human form, wailing as he laid on the ground and said angrily, "Human brat, you will definitely die a horrible death. Don't think that Yue can find yourself by staying away from this samsara sacrifice. I'll tell you this, if Yue doesn't sacrifice herself like last time, when the Star Moon Ancestor Emperor revives, let's see how you handle this." Who is the Star Moon Ancestor Emperor? Speak clearly. Chen Shang grabbed his hair and stared at him. He is the father of the Divine Lord, he is much stronger than the All-Beast Divine Lord. He has been cultivating in deep sleep, and every once in a while, we have to conduct a session of the samsara sacrifice to allow him to absorb a large amount of the star and moon's energy. At that time, we would only be able to absorb a little. Wu Kang laughed sinisterly. If Ancestor Emperor does not have the power, he will definitely wake up. Even if all Beast Divine Lord revives, it won't be able to stop him. Chen Zhang's expression became heavy. He believed what Wu Kang had said, because he remembered something big that Huang Jintian calculated using the Heaven Extended method, something that would change the flow of the world because of him. It was because he left UAA that the samsara sacrifice could not continue. This would wake up the so-called Star Moon Ancestor Emperor, and at that time, the world's situation would definitely change greatly. You must be from Supreme Divine Palace. You don't want the entire Supreme Divine Palace to be destroyed, so you better hurry up and think of a way to have UAA obediently return. Wishful thinking. Chen Shang slapped him. What's wrong with this Star Moon hell? I want to get out of here as soon as possible. Wu Kang was scared of Chen Zhang's beating. He himself was scared of death and was also afraid of pain, so he could only cooperate with Chen Shang obediently. This is a special technique that our Star Moon divine race used to imprison moon and star creatures. If it violates the laws, the moon and stars would land and use this kind of stone to imprison these moon and star creatures. And we accidentally saw it, so we were sucked in. Wu Kang said. Chen Shang felt that this was extremely unbelievable. Who made this rock? It couldn't have been born naturally, could it? Wu Kang said. This was made by the Star Law Divine Realm. I presume that it was used to imprison us back then, but for other reasons, it did not succeed. UAA should have come over at that time. She should be the law enforcer, but she was caught by the Star Moon Ancestor Emperor and used by the Star Moon Ancestor Emperor. That's why the samsara sacrifice appeared. Star Law Divine Realm. These divine nations were already very powerful in Chen Zhang's eyes, but now this Star Law Divine Realm looked even more terrifying. Don't even think about it, we can't get out. Wu Kang sneered. We will only die here, this way we can avoid the anger of Ancestor Emperor after he wakes up. Chen Shang shook Wu Kang to the side, then grabbed a handful of soil. He realized that the soil here was a little different, as it actually contained a very dense amount of star power, just that it could not be absorbed. Old bastard, I remember the last time you captured UAA, didn't you say that there were still 10 days until samsara sacrifice? It should have already been 10 days since then. Chen Shang said. That's when our samsara sacrifice begins. Just by being prepared, we have to use over 10 days to set up the array, and we also have to let a large portion of the power of the stars and moon rush into the Ancestor Emperor's underground palace, so right now there should be another 7 days until the power of the stars and moon descends. It's already too late, the Ancestor Emperor will definitely wake up, no one can stop us. Wu Kang laughed. You can't be that absolute. The Ancestor Emperor you all speak of is just a fugitive from death who violated the laws of the stars and moon. The sudden voice that came from the sky startled Chen Shang and Wu Kang. There was someone else in this empty prison. Chapter 2008. From the way he spoke, the person who spoke should have a very good understanding of the Ancestor Emperor. Chen Shang rejoiced in his heart. This way, he would have a higher chance of getting out. Who is it? Wu Kang shouted. Who the hell are you? Weren't you supposed to use this Star Moon Hell to seal the Ancestor Emperor? Chen Shang had already heard the sound of footsteps. He immediately turned his head to the side. There was a faint white mist, and someone was quickly running over from that direction. Very quickly, Chen Shang was shocked. In a few seconds, the man rushed over from that faraway location. You have to know that this place can only use the power of the flesh, and that speed was already close to teleportation. This was a middle-aged man with long, messy hair. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes, a full beard, and he was extremely tall. He wore gray clothes, and had a stone sword at his waist. It was made very rough. You, who are you? Wu Kang was frightened. The power of his flesh body was enough to tyrannize over him, and the middle-aged man looked even more terrifying. I am the first guest here. I am very happy that you all have come here. I very much welcome you all. The middle-aged man laughed out loud. Chen Shang cursed inwardly. He was not happy to be here. Just who are you? Wu Kang asked. This Star Moon Hell was prepared for me. After I was locked in here, I was sealed in a very large star, and then I seem to have landed in some other place, but I don't have anything to do here, and as for the you mentioned, he should be my little buddy from Star Law Divine Realm. It's a pity that he didn't come in, but there are 2 more inside. The middle-aged man patted on Chen Zhang's shoulder, making Chen Shang feel pain. Chen Shang asked, Senior, then do you know Uaa? She is a cute little white cat. So it turned out that this star moon hell could hold many prisoners. The reason why this star moon hell came here was probably to bring in the ancestor emperor. However, there was an accident and so it did not succeed. The middle-aged man stroked his chin. I've never heard of this name, but I do know about the cute little white cat. This little white cat is very famous for sending people into star moon hell. I already knew that she was going to bring in a big guy. Wu Kang sneered. She is dealing with our ancestor emperor, it is normal for her to fail because our ancestor emperor is so powerful. Chen Shang had guessed it many times, but he didn't think it would be like this. She has failed, but it is definitely not because of your ancestor emperor. Your ancestor emperor's strength alone is not enough to make her fail, and there are other reasons that I am not too clear about. The middle-aged man said, your ancestor emperor is an ox. Although he is not very famous, I have heard of him before. Wu Kang did not reply, he was afraid of angering the middle-aged man, and getting beaten up again. Right now, he was the weakest among them, maybe when Chen Shang was bored, he would still beat him up. Wu Kang thought to himself that he would have to stay here for a long time, and would get beaten up any time, causing his face to turn green. Senior, why were you brought in? Chen Shang asked curiously, you don't look like an evil person either. It was just an accident that I accidentally killed an important figure inside the Star Law Divine Realm and was brought inside. At most, I could have just gone into exile, but I thought about it and decided to obediently accept the judgment of the Star Law Divine Realm. The middle-aged man laughed and said, I'm not bad indeed. It's just that sometimes I'm impulsive and often cause trouble. Chen Shang also laughed. I also cause trouble quite a bit, I have been here for quite some time now, little brother Chen Shang, I wonder what big brother's name is. Yang Tianyi, you brat, although you don't seem strong, you are actually so terrifying when it comes to beating people up. Yang Tianyi could obviously tell that Wu Kang's cultivation was higher than Chen Zhang's, but his body was not as strong as Chen Zhang's. He was weaker than Chen Shang by a lot, to the point that he was oppressed by Chen Shang. Chen Shang chuckled before asking, Big brother Yang, do you have any way of getting out of here? I can't stay here forever. Yang Tianyi sighed. There's no way out, my strength is also very strong. If the ancestor emperor the old man spoke of came, I might be able to kill him immediately, but I have no way of leaving this place. I don't believe you, Wu Kang said softly. He was extremely confident in his Star Moon divine race and did not believe that he would be defeated instantly by this sloppy-looking burly man. Yang Tianyi only smiled slightly and said to Chen Shang, don't worry, even though you can't get out, if the enforcer knows that the people here shouldn't be locked up, then you can get out. This Star Moon hell should be managed by that little white cat, only she can let you out. Really, but I can't get in touch with her right now. Chen Shang originally thought that there was some hope, but after thinking about Yue's current situation, she couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Although her memories have been erased, every once in a while, Xingyu will give her the power to be reborn, and at that time, she will also get new memories. As long as she recovers her memories and knows that there is a Star Moon underworld here, then it will be fine. Yang Tianyi laughed. That's why you don't have to worry about how terrifying that ancestor emperor is. Wu Kang grunted softly, because he understood that Yang Tianyi was right. No matter how strong their ancestor emperor was, they would be dragged in no matter what. When Yue recovered her memories, she would first find this Xingyu hell and then use it to deal with their ancestor emperor. Seeing Chen Zhang's face relax, Yang Tianyi continued, although you don't have to worry about that ancestor emperor, you still have to pay attention to who defeated that little white cat and let that whatever ancestor emperor take advantage of you. This was probably something only Yue knew, what Chen Shang could do now was to patiently wait here. Yang Tianyi suddenly grabbed Chen Zhang's arm and pinched it hard, causing Chen Shang to scream out in pain. Brother Yang, what are you doing? Chen Shang shouted in pain. You don't have bones, I thought you did. Sorry, Yang Tianyi laughed awkwardly, however, your body is still very scary. You can possess such a degree of power without bones. It seems that you have definitely gone through a lot of tough training over these years. Big brother Yang, don't tell me you have bones. Chen Shang asked curiously, he was a little excited, because this was the first time he had met someone who possessed bones. Of course there is, if I didn't have bones, I would have died a long time ago. Yang Tianyi laughed, do you want to cultivate or not, I can help you. Chapter 2009. Of course, Chen Shang wanted to cultivate bones, but the conditions to cultivate bones were extremely harsh, just like Wu Kang. He definitely did not have any bones right now, otherwise, he would not have been beaten so badly by Chen Shang. Is it easy to cultivate it? Chen Shang wanted to understand first. If it took too long, he did not plan to cultivate here, because there were still some important things he needed to do after he left. Cultivating bones is the hardest. Some people would rather give up on raising their cultivation and cultivate their bones as well. Yang Tianyi said. Wu Kang mocked from the side. This brat, is he even strong enough to cultivate bones? Judging by his appearance, he should only have 2 divine deities in his hands, which is too far away. Cultivating bones has nothing to do with divine deity, it's mainly about the foundation of the body. Although your divine deity is more than his, you are far inferior to him in terms of body, so he has the conditions to cultivate bones now. Of course, this does not mean that he will definitely be able to cultivate it. Yang Tianyi said to Wu Kang very seriously. Wu Kang stopped talking. The strength of Chen Zhang's body had indeed made him feel afraid, and if Chen Shang cultivated his bones again, it would definitely be terrifying in the future. Yang Tianyi took out a pile of flowers and plants, which he placed in a broken basket, and said, if there's fire, then it's best that I refined it. Chen Shang carefully looked at the things in the basket and said in shock, these herbs are the bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients. Yang Tianyi replied with an, oh. You know the bone-level Dan too, and you can even recognize that this is the bone-level Dan's medicinal herb. You have seen the bone-level Dan before. Chen Shang laughed. I am just a pill god, and am already able to refine Zongpin Dan S. I have bone-level Dan S, medicinal ingredients, but I have not been able to gather them, because they are too rare. Chen Shang asked Feng Yuji to be in charge of the purchase. It had already been many days since then, but there was no news of him. He never thought that he would see all of the bone-level Dan's ingredients here. This is a low-quality divine medicine. If it is a middle-quality medicine, then the effects will be better, and eating it directly would also be fine. Of course, if it can be refined into a divine pill, then it would be easier for you to cultivate bones. Yang Tianyi said. Even though you are a pill god, there is no way to release fire here, and you cannot refine pills. Chen Shang tried to release the Chuangzhou fire, but just as the flames appeared, the fire energy was suddenly dispersed and was completely absorbed by the strange energy in the place. I really can't. Chen Shang sat on the ground and grabbed a handful of soil, and said, all of this soil contains a very dense amount of star power. Yang Tianyi said, this dirt is formed from the power of the stars, but you can't absorb it, nor can you use it. This mud has been formed from the power of the stars, but you can't absorb it, nor can you use it. The only thing he could use was his feeble divine intent, which could still be used to retrieve items from the spatial storage. Chen Shang looked at the sand in his hands and said, as long as my energy does not leave my body, I can still use it. Yang Tianyi said, that's good, but what's the use of not leaving your body? Chen Shang laughed. I can concoct pills in the divine sense sea. Although I have never concocted pills before, I feel that I can give it a try. As long as one had the cultivation of a god, they would be able to change their divine sense sea into their own storage space. The divine sense sea refining pills is indeed a good breakthrough, but it requires a very large and stable divine sense sea. Can you? Yang Tianyi's eyes also lit up. He had never thought of this method before. The divine sense sea looked very big when he looked at it from the inside. That was because his divine soul and divine deity were very small to begin with, and would compress even smaller after entering the divine sense sea. Normally, he would only put in a few very small storage magic treasures and such, but he would need to put in a pill furnace, and that was also very unstable. It had to be known that the divine sense sea was very weak, especially in the insides. If the pill furnace exploded inside the divine sense sea, it would seriously injure the divine sense sea. No problem. Chen Shang was not going to use that kind of cauldron to refine pills. He could directly use magic method furnace S. Big brother Yang, how many of these medicinal ingredients do you have? Bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients are extremely rare. Where did you get them from? Chen Shang looked at the flowers and plants in the basket. The quality was not bad, but because he had stored them for a long time and did not pay too much attention to them, they looked a little lifeless. I still have a dozen or so. Back then, I bought a lot to eat, and after eating the bone-level Dan, I have kept them until now. If you want, you can take them all. Yang Tianyi said as he took out another big pile. Bone level dans had a total of 3 types of medicinal ingredients, which were considered rare among the divine pellets. Chen Shang picked up a long blade of green grass, which was shaped like a flat band. On the surface, it was covered with very thin hair, and at the top of the tip of the hair there was a very fine granule, which emitted a very weak glow. This was called heavenly muscle grass. After the first stage of maturation, it would be around 9 feet long, and it would become a low-grade divine medicine. The bone-level dan's medicinal ingredients could continuously evolve, so the bone-level dan had an upper rank as well. The second type was a pure black-colored flower called the blood-bone divine flower, where the stamens were like bones. Upon closer inspection, one could see that each stamen had something that looked like blood, and the petals also had vein-like patterns. If the petals were to be destroyed, a blood-like red liquid would seep out. The last kind was also a flower, but the flower was special. Its petals were red, while the heart of the flower was light-colored. The special thing was the pattern on the flower's center. The patterns formed by the spirit grain looked like a sad face. It was said that if the flower was full of vitality, the pattern on the heart of the flower was a smiling face, so the flower was also known as the 7 emotions flower. It had 7 human emotions. Can you succeed? If you can concoct a divine pellet, after eating it, your chance of cultivating bones will be greater. If you can just eat it directly, then you can only try your luck. Yang Tianyi said. Eating the bone-level dan didn't guarantee that it could cultivate the bones, but it was just that the bone-level dan could summon an opportunity, and whether or not it could succeed all depended on him. It was said that the process of condensing the bones was also very difficult, but to have the opportunity to condense the bones was even more difficult. Chen Shang took out his own spirit liquid and dripped it on top of all of them, improving their quality. When the 7 deity flower turned into a smiling face, it meant that their current quality was the best. Big Brother Yang, is there a lot of this type of medicinal material in your place? Chen Shang had heard Yang Tianyi's tone just now, as if he was eating the bone-level dan's medicine ingredients as food. Chapter 2010. Yang Tianyi came from that mysterious Star Law divine realm, which seemed to be stronger than 9 gods' nation. More is not a lot, but as long as you have enough Shen Yuan stone, you can still buy them. At that time, I used all of the Shen Yuan stone. I bought a lot, but I only bought 3 bones, so the 10 batches of medicinal ingredients I gave you, the chances of you cultivating bones were very slim. Yang Tianyi said. When Wu Kang found out that Yang Tianyi possessed 3 bones, he couldn't help but be alarmed. He knew what this signified, and adding the 3 bones in the divine sense C, the amount of energy that exploded out was extremely terrifying, but generally speaking, cultivation bones would only be considered when one reached the peak of the Supreme God realm. If Yang Tianyi was at the peak of the Supreme God realm, cultivating 3 bones out of him was unimaginable. Seeing Wu Kang being so afraid, Chen Shang secretly exclaimed in his heart, as he desired more to cultivate bones. Big Brother Yang, I heard that you can at most cultivate up to 9 bones. If you could, how powerful would you be? Chen Shang asked with a look of yearning. Having bones can only increase the strength of my physical body by a lot, but if the bones is merged with a strong divine soul, then the strength will be even more terrifying. My current bones doesn't have any divine soul, because I have only condensed my bones here, so I can't go out, and I can't find a good divine soul to fuse with. Yang Tianyi said. Other than this, there is another way. It is to integrate the divine soul that you have cultivated into your own bones, and you will also be able to obtain a very strong power. This would allow the herbs to become more familiar with the environment of the divine sense C. It would also make it easier for Chen Shang to refine them later, as they were shopping Dan. After all, this was not difficult at all. Then why don't you just buy them directly? There should be a very strong alchemist in the Star Law divine realm, right? Chen Shang asked. In Star Law divine realm, not just anyone can sell divine pellets. There are also powerful forces that can sell divine pellets, and the moment it is found out that it is being sold privately, it would be against the rules of Star Law divine realm, and the result would be similar to me. Ling Yun laughed. When Yang Tianyi mentioned this, his face was filled with anger. A single bone-level dan's price was enough for me to buy over 1,000 sets of medicinal herbs, so I went to many places and bought a large amount of medicinal herbs. Chen Shang was in disbelief. Yang Tianyi had actually been brought in because of this kind of thing. It's because I'm relatively strong that I wasn't directly killed. Instead, I was imprisoned inside. If they were to think of me one day, they might release me. Yang Tianyi laughed at himself. At least I still have a glimmer of hope to get out of here. Chen Shang said. Big Brother Yang, I'm going to start concocting pills, help me keep an eye on this guy. Yang Tianyi knew that he had to be extremely serious when concocting pills, and Chen Shang was currently still in the Divine Sense Sea, so he needed to focus even more. Chen Shang had condensed a very small magic method furnace inside the Divine Sense Sea. He was very familiar with using magic method furnace to refine pills, and this also required a very deep level of control, so he was confident that he could stabilize the pill furnace inside the Divine Sense Sea. He already had 3 Divine Soul, of which, the first one was on the small island in the middle of the Divine Sense Sea and the other 2 were hidden by him. Previously, he thought that he would need to use 3 Divine Soul to control them, but after trying it, he felt that it wasn't that difficult, it only required him some time. When concocting pills, one would use the original source refining and burn the medicinal herbs to a certain degree. Then, they would search for the spirit blood S in the divine medicine and fuse them together. Under normal circumstances, concocting pills would be a piece of cake for Chen Shang, but in the Divine Sense Sea, it would be extremely difficult for him to use the original source refining. Fortunately, I managed to cultivate the Tao Heart Eye. If I had used my previous source spirit eyes, finding the spirit blood would have been extremely difficult. Chen Shang had to put in a lot of effort to get the Tao Heart Eye to examine his own Divine Sense Sea, to carefully observe the various divine medicines among the magic method furnace. In order to ensure stability, Chen Shang didn't use any fierce flames to burn them, so his progress was slower. Adding his first time refining this bone-level Dan, he didn't have much experience. 10 days had passed and Chen Shang suddenly saw the 7 Love Divine Flowers spirit blood, while the other 2 divine medicines spirit blood still had not appeared yet. The spirit blood appeared in the later stages of the training, so the other 2 should be the same. Chen Shang judged based on the 7 Desire Divine Flower, and as expected, not long after, spirit blood of the other 2 divine medicines appeared as well. And following that, Chen Shang faced an even more difficult trial, which was to fuse them. Merging and condensing pills are both extremely dangerous. This was because a furnace explosion usually occurred in these 2 stages. If he was outside concocting pills, there was nothing to worry about. At most, he would just be newly arrived. But in the Divine Sense Sea, the moment he was exposed, his Divine Sense Sea would be severely injured, so there couldn't be any mistakes. The spirit blood of the 3 divine medicines were caught by his consciousness, and then slowly merged together. Because the spirit blood was a fusion, the 3 spirit blood with common characteristics quickly fused together the moment they came in contact with each other. Once the fusion was successful, the medicine aura could successfully fuse the 3 divine medicines. As long as he continued to control the flames well and maintain the firepower in the furnace to assist the medicine aura and the medicinal powder to maintain an extremely active state, the fusion wouldn't be a problem. Unknowingly, Chen Shang took more than 10 days to refine the pill, and there was still more than half a month until the start of the competition, so time was of the essence. I can only condense 3 pills in Divine Sense Sea, sigh. Chen Shang sighed. If it was outside, he felt that it would not be a problem to condense 5 pills, but now, in order to steady himself, he could only do so. After all the medicine aura had fused into one, that cyclone was split into 3 parts, and then part of the other parts flowed out. This way, there wouldn't be too much pressure during the process of condensing the core, allowing it to remain stable. The process of condensing the pill was also very long, it took an entire day. Yang Tianyi was standing beside Chen Shang the entire time as he stared closely at Wu Kang to prevent him from wreaking havoc. It was only when Chen Shang finally opened his eyes that Yang Tianyi relaxed. Done, Yang Tianyi asked anxiously. Chen Shang smiled and nodded. Then, he took out 3 milky white pills from the Divine Sense Sea. Wu Kang saw this from afar and was shocked. He was actually able to refine 3 pellets in one furnace. Right, this is the bone-level Dan, you really refined it. Yang Tianyi looked at Chen Shang with a face full of worship. If it was made outside, Yang Tianyi might not be surprised, but to be able to make it in this kind of place with a huge restriction was not something that anyone could do. Chen Shang laughed. Brother Yang, you're talking nonsense. I really did refine it, didn't you see it too? Chapter 2011. Although Chen Shang could refine 3 bone-level Dan-s, he was still regretful that he could not refine more this time. If not for the limited environment he was in, he would be able to refine even more. Is it enough to eat it? Chen Shang picked up a bone-level Dan. Eat it first and see what reaction you have. If you feel a tearing pain in your body, then you must grab the opportunity to strike the place of pain with all of your physical strength. If you succeed, you should be able to condense bones. Yang Tianyi took a bone-level Dan. He now believed that this was refined by Chen Shang and the quality was extremely good. Chen Shang laughed. Brother Yang, if you don't believe me, you can eat one and see what happens to you. Yang Tianyi shook his head and laughed. There's no need to try, I have also eaten a few of these bone-level dan. Although they have been separated for a long time, I am sure that they are real. That year, I ate so many bone-level dan's medicinal ingredients, it was simply too expensive. If I let you refine them, I don't know how many of them would be made up of bone-level dan, maybe I would have condensed even more bones. Quote, little brother, you don't know how expensive the bone-level dan in Star La Divine Realm are. If you can sell these 3 pills you refined, then you can definitely make a huge profit. Of course, individuals are not allowed to buy or sell pills alone in that place. If they are found out, the people who buy or sell pills will be severely punished. Mentioning this matter, Yang Tianyi's face was full of unwillingness. It was because of this matter that he was brought in. Wu Kang watched on from the side, his face full of displeasure. He hated Chen Shang very much. Not only did he destroy the samsara sacrifice, he even beat Chen Shang up when he came in. He also pushed the responsibility of him being trapped here to Chen Shang. Right now, he saw Chen Shang refining a bone-level dan and was about to cultivate bones, which made him even more uncomfortable and jealous. Chen Shang swallowed a pellet of bone-level dan, closed his eyes and started to refine the bone-level dan's medicinal power, waiting for the opportunity to condense bones to appear. Half a day had passed and Chen Shang had already completely refined the bone-level dan's medicinal strength. He opened his eyes, and said while frowning, what's going on? Even if there was no opportunity, there should be some use to it. This is a shopping dan, it should have some effect on me. Quote, Chen Shang had thought that even if the bone-level dan couldn't condense bones, it would at least strengthen his body a little. It's like this. Although bone-level dan are expensive, but I can't guarantee that I can trigger the opportunity to nurture bones at any time. Back then, I ate a lot of broken grass and flowers to have some effect. Yang Tianyi laughed bitterly and patted Chen Zhang's shoulder. There are still 2 pills. If your luck is not bad, I should be able to help you condense your bones. Seeing Yang Tianyi's smile, Chen Shang felt that even if he was lucky, he wouldn't be able to condense bones. Chen Shang sighed helplessly as he ate another bone-level dan and started to refine it. He had refined it for a good half an hour without any results, but now, after the first 2 hours, Chen Shang felt a slight pain in his entire left arm. He, who initially did not hold much hope, was pleasantly surprised. Yang Tianyi had said before that this was a sign of an opportunity appearing, but this sign was not too obvious. It did not have the tearing pain that Yang Tianyi had described. He continued for another hour. Suddenly, there was a pain in his left arm. It was as if his bones were shattered and his flesh was torn apart. It was so painful that his brows were tightly furrowed and his head was covered in sweat. Hurry up and gather the strength of your physical body at the place of pain. Seeing Chen Zhang's reaction, Yang Tianyi immediately shouted out in surprise. Chen Shang had already condensed the power in his body, controlling the power to continuously rush into his left arm. He only did as Yang Tianyi said. He did not know what would happen after he gathered all his power into his left arm. I didn't think that you would trigger this opportunity so quickly. You must seize this opportunity and not miss it. Otherwise, it will be even harder to find you in the future. I was also like this before. Yang Tianyi was a little excited. To be able to see a young man condensing bones under his guidance was something that was worth being happy about. Chen Shang continued to channel all the energy in his body into his left arm. He only felt that the energy disappeared after it entered his left arm, which made him very surprised. His left arm was like a bottomless pit, crazily devouring the energy in his body. He felt that if he did not have the endless energy to enter, the pain would have disappeared. The disappearance of the pain meant that he had failed to condense his bones. In order to succeed, he could only continue to focus his strength on his left arm. This would also cause him to feel more and more pain. This kind of pain is not something that an ordinary person can withstand, but it seems like you think it's nothing. Yang Tianyi recalled that the first time he had triggered this opportunity, it was because he couldn't endure the pain and had to give up. This resulted in him missing out on a very rare opportunity. Although Chen Shang felt pain, it was not to the point where he couldn't bear it. Compared to the rough training he experienced many years ago, this kind of pain was nothing to him. Wu Kang gritted his teeth as he saw this, his fists clenched tightly. At the same time, Yang Tianyi was also looking at Chen Shang with rapt attention, in case something happened to Chen Shang. Wu Kang suddenly flew over, and threw a punch towards Chen Zhang's back, and roared, "Little bastard, go and die." Although Yang Tianyi did not notice Wu Kang, when he sensed that something was nearing, he immediately reacted. When Wu Kang's fist was still 3 inches away from Chen Shang, his wrist was grabbed by Yang Tianyi. "The one who should die is you," Yang Tianyi shouted coldly. He used all his strength to twist Wu Kang's arm, and after a spin, his entire arm was crippled. "Scram to the side, I'll deal with you later." Yang Tianyi slapped his palm towards Wu Kang's chest, sending him flying. Wu Kang was thrown out like a piece of trash. After falling on the ground, he stopped moving, but he did not die. Yue must have accumulated a lot of anger over the years. Only by letting her personally punish Wu Kang, would Yue be able to dispel the hatred in her heart. She never thought that Wu Kang was so anxious to court death, to actually plot against him. Wu Kang fell to the ground after being hit by Yang Tianyi's palm, half dead. It could be seen that Yang Tianyi's strength was extremely terrifying, and Chen Shang rejoiced that his relationship with Yang Tianyi was not bad. "Brother, don't worry, that guy won't be able to get up. All the bones in his body have been shattered." Said this, feeling extremely guilty in his heart, he actually did not notice Wu Kang. If he was extremely vigilant, Wu Kang only needed to move a bit, and he would be able to quickly cripple Wu Kang. And just now, he had interfered with Chen Zhang's plans and nearly ruined the big matter. "Ah!" Chen Shang suddenly roared out. The sleeves on his left arm suddenly burst and became a pile of shredded cloth. The thick and strong arm was extremely red and was swelling up, the muscles and veins protruding. It was sinister and terrifying. "It's going to be a success." Yang Tianyi clenched his fists and said excitedly. Chapter 2012. Chen Shang also felt that the bones and muscles of his left arm were completely reborn a moment ago, as they suddenly erupted with extremely terrifying power. The bones of his left arm seemed to have shattered in an instant, but they quickly reformed, at the same time producing a huge transformation in the meridians and blood vessels of his left arm. Chen Shang continuously roared. He only felt that his arm was hot and painful, as though countless red-hot iron needles had pierced into his arm and pierced through his flesh and bones. After a while, Chen Shang let out a long sigh as he was about to grind his teeth into pieces. His left arm stopped expanding, and gradually recovered its original form. The redness on his skin also faded, returning to its original tanned and healthy skin color. Chen Shang was in so much pain that he was sweating profusely. He was already drenched in the water, his face was pale white, and now he only felt that he was completely exhausted. After he let out a long breath, he laid on the ground, closed his eyes and fell asleep. After Chen Shang had slept soundly, Yang Tianyi walked over, grabbed Chen Zhang's arm, and examined the internal bones. "How could this be? I can condense a double bone level all at once." Quote. Yang Tianyi was completely shocked and shook his head. "Impossible, an arm can only have 1 bones, a body can only have 1 bones in 9 places, and now he has 2 arms. What was going on? Does he have 1 bones or 2? Quote. An unusual thing happened to Chen Shang once again. Previously, when Chen Shang was able to refine a bone-level Dan in the Divine Sense C, Yang Tianyi thought that it was very powerful. If all the other parts of this boy's body were double bone level, wouldn't he have 18 bones as in the end? This is too scary. Yang Tianyi took a deep breath, and looked at the soundly sleeping Chen Shang. He could be considered to be well informed, but this was the first time he had heard of this sort of thing. Chen Shang slept for a few days before waking up. When he woke up, he felt hungry, so he quickly took out something to eat to replenish his energy. The power brought by the bones is indeed abnormal. Chen Shang looked at his left arm and shook it tightly. He could release the power that came from his body as he wished without any restriction. If you can use the power of the Divine Sense C to coordinate with it, and add on the double bone level on your left arm that has been fused with your divine soul, the power would be even more terrifying. You should be a lower god now. There are only 2 divine deities in Divine Sense C. Yet your double bone level can give you the power of 6 divine deity, or even stronger. Yang Tianyi said. Brother, at this rate, you will only become stronger and stronger. Double bone level. Chen Shang was startled. He did not notice that, he only felt that there was something inside the bones in his left arm that could make him stronger. Now, after a careful inspection, he discovered that there was indeed something similar to divine deity in his left arm, only that it seemed to be a little smaller than the divine deity. It was just these 2 bones that allowed his entire left arm to possess a very powerful strength. So bones can actually grow in one place and make this place even more powerful. Before, Chen Shang only thought that bones would allow his entire body to gain power, but now, it seemed that only his left arm was stronger. Yang Tianyi laughed. Don't just think that having bones is useless. If you have the chance, you will know. In the past, the strength of your left arm needed to be matched with the strength of your entire body, but now your left arm doesn't need to be linked with your body to be able to release such a strong power. Even if a major part of your body is injured, as long as you move your mind, power will be generated in your left arm and you can even drag your body. Quote. Chen Shang sat on the ground and followed Yang Tianyi's instructions to throw out a punch, and as expected, his body flew out with the left fist, causing him to fly out a distance. If it is compatible with the body, then it will be even more terrifying. Of course, after you leave this place, you can still coordinate with the power inside the divine sense C, which is how you can display the power of your bones. Yang Tianyi laughed. Chen Shang looked at Yang Tianyi's legs and asked, Big brother Yang, is your bones on your legs? Yang Tianyi nodded his head. Each of my legs has 1 bones, then it's my right arm. I only have 3 bones in total. Now, Chen Shang finally understood why Yang Tianyi ran so fast previously. That kind of speed felt like teleportation. Wu Kang, who had been knocked out previously, had already woken up and was moaning in pain. This guy almost killed you. What are you going to do with him? Yang Tianyi did not kill Wu Kang because he gave her the chance. As for Chen Shang, he wanted to give it to Yue, but he felt that there was no need for him to do so now. Big brother Yang, this guy is also a space beast. I wonder if his divine soul is suitable for me? Chen Shang asked. As long as it's a powerful divine soul. This fellow's innate talent is not good, and is unable to display the divine soul on his body. But your innate talent is not bad, and his divine soul will have quite a good effect on your bones. This fellow is also at the peak of the Supreme God realm and has 18 divine deity. However, it would not be easy for you to extract all of his divine deity and divine soul. Yang Tianyi had already investigated Wu Kang's divine sense C, and could only find his first divine deity and divine soul from within. Hearing that Chen Shang wanted to devour his divine soul, Wu Kang became extremely terrified, and shouted with a groan, I am a loyal subordinate of the Ancestor Emperor, you cannot kill me. Your little bastard's bones is not worthy of my divine soul at all. Quote. Chen Shang coldly snorted, Don't worry, your divine soul will not appear inside my bones. I am quite interested in the Ancestor Emperor that you are talking about, his divine soul should be enough to satisfy me. Quote. With that, Chen Shang covered Wu Kang's head with his palm and used his most skilled technique to remove Wu Kang's divine deity. 5 divine deity and 5 divine soul, not bad at all. Yang Tianyi saw that there were 5 pearls containing small people in Chen Zhang's hand, and could not help but laugh. Brother, you should be doing this frequently. If you don't have any experience, you can't be able to take out so many at once. Brother Yang, do you want it? Chen Shang laughed. Taking the divine deity was like taking out a bird's nest in their eyes. Fortunately, Wu Kang was already dead, otherwise, even if he died, he wouldn't be able to rest in peace. Yang Tianyi waved his hand, I don't need it now. Are you really not planning to merge this guy's first divine soul into your bones? Quote. The first divine soul is the strongest, and there is no way to hide it, so it can usually be grabbed. Chen Shang laughed. Didn't I say it earlier? I am rather interested in that Ancestor Emperor's divine soul. If Big Brother Yang is fortunate enough to be able to go out, then you must help this little brother out. Quote. Yang Tianyi laughed openly. I will definitely help you. If I can get out, it will all be thanks to you. However, little brother, when the time comes, you must help me refine a few bone-level dans, and it would be best if they are of the upper rank. Right now, I can only condense the 4th bones if I eat upper rank bone-level dans. Quote. Chapter 2013. Just by eating the ingredients, Yang Tianyi was able to eat 3 levels of bones. One could imagine how many of those ingredients he had eaten, and it was no wonder that he was targeted by the Star Law Divine Realm. This was because the medicine he bought from the bone-level Dan was too crazy. Chen Shang laughed. That's for sure. If it wasn't for Big Brother Yang, I don't know when I would have found the bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients, and I wouldn't have had the chance to refine it. Oh right, Big Brother Yang, did you manage to cultivate up to 9 bones in the Star Law Divine Realm? Quote. There are some experts who are filled with bones, but they are extremely rare, and they rarely show themselves. I have heard of them in the Star Law Divine Realm, but I have never seen them with my own eyes. Normally, a fellow with a full bones would be considered a top-notch existence in the Star Law Divine Realm. Yang Tianyi said. This means that since Big Brother Yang has 3 bones, he should be very strong in the Star Law Divine Realm, said in shock. 9 bones S were already full, and Yang Tianyi already possessed 3 bones S. It's hard to say. 3 bones S are the pinnacle of a single stage, and I don't have a good divine soul. If I have the chance to leave, I have to return to the Star Law Divine Realm. Yang Tianyi raised his head to look at the dusky sky. He had already stayed here for many years, but now, he had a very good chance of leaving. The power of the moon and stars should have already descended. I wonder how things are going outside. Chen Shang also looked up in the sky, extremely worried for Yuei. The patriarch and the few elders in the Star Moon divine race were all very scary, but there was still the mysterious ancestor emperor behind them, and it was said that he was even stronger than them. If they were to alarm this ancestor emperor, Yuei's situation would become even more dangerous. Chen Shang told Yang Tianyi about the stories outside, as well as some of his own experiences. Yang Tianyi had been alone in this place for many years, so it was very interesting for him to be able to hear some news. I've heard that these 9 divine nations S are related to the Star Law Divine Realm, and their overall strength is also very strong, especially the 9 divine nations S. It's said that their strength makes the other Star Law Divine Realm's forces afraid, but I think that if they were to fight, the Star Law Divine Realm should be able to win. Yang Tianyi said, you said that the 9 divine nations S are in trouble. Could he be from the Star Law Divine Realm? Quote. Chen Shang shook his head. I'm not sure either. I just heard that a new divine nations has risen up, so these 9 divine nations S need to focus their energy on this. They should be trying to work together to suppress this new divine nations. Star Law Divine Realm is in the endless starry sky beyond this space, and it seems like 9 Gods Nation is also on some giant stars beyond this space. It's not easy to go to those places either. You need to travel through the dark starry sky. It's filled with danger. Even if I were to return to Star Law Divine Realm now, it would not be that simple. Yang Tianyi thought back to the matters concerning the 9 Gods Nation in his mind. Previously, Chen Shang did not know where the location of the 9 Gods Nation was, but now he finally found a clue. Chen Shang asked, Brother Yang, if you can leave, do you really want to return to Star Law Divine Realm? You sneaked out of this Star Moon Hell, wouldn't it be dangerous for you to go back? Yang Tianyi chuckled. Even though what I did that year was quite shocking, after all, so many years have passed. Most of the people who heard about me back then are probably already dead now, and after so much time has passed, who would still remember me? I have to find the best divine soul inside my bones, that way I can become even stronger. In this kind of place it's hard to find, so I have to go back. Even if there's danger I have to take the risk. I have already wasted my bones for many years, and have not found any good divine soul for them in all these years. I feel very sorry. Chen Shang also had the thought of merging Wu Kang's divine soul with his bones, but after thinking about it for a while, he realized since bones were so important, then he must find a relatively stronger one when merging with divine soul. After a few more days, Chen Shang sighed. I still have to participate in the pill refining competition, looks like I won't be able to make it. Yang Tianyi said, Old brother, your pill refining level is very high. If you were in Star Law Divine Realm, you would have definitely been won over by those big powers. When I was in Star Law Divine Realm, I heard that the most powerful of the pill gods could only refine 4 bone level Dan at the most. And since you were able to refine 3 pills in this environment, if you go out, you will definitely be able to refine even more. Quote. Yang Tianyi had a wide range of experience. When Chen Shang had refined the 3 bone level Dan, he had already seen Chen Zhang's talent. As long as he continued to grow at this pace, he was very sure that Chen Shang would achieve great things in the Pill Dao in the future. There were only 3 days left until the start of the Heroes Gathering Divine City's Great Assembly. Chen Shang lied on the soil, looking at the gray clouds in the sky with a helpless expression. Suddenly, he saw a very small dot of light. At the beginning, he thought he saw wrongly, but after hearing Yang Tianyi who was at the side shout, he started to look carefully. Something is coming in. Yang Tianyi stood up quickly and started to be alert. Although he did not know what it was, but in an unknown situation, Yang Tianyi would still treat it as a dangerous object. Chen Shang also suddenly jumped up. The light dot was sliding far away from where they were, and there was also a gray mist coming from it. Let's go take a look. We have to be careful. Just as Yang Tianyi finished speaking, a spatial ripple spread over, and then, Chen Shang only saw a white shadow flash over. It was a little white cat with wings. You er, Chen Shang shouted in surprise. Yue had also jumped into his embrace. Hee, I'm here to see you. Yue was extremely happy, and the fact that she could still come here showed that her memories had returned to a great extent. Chen Shang caressed her head and laughed. It's good that you're okay, I'm worried about you. Can you let us out? Quote. Yue looked at Yang Tianyi at the side and meowed in surprise. Yang Tianyi, I didn't expect that you would still be alive. Yang Tianyi laughed. Master Cat, look at me, I have been locked in here for a long time. I should be able to leave now, right? I know I was wrong, but I won't do it again. Quote. Oh right, Yue, did that fellow called Ancestor Emperor come out? Chen Shang asked worriedly. No, but it should be soon. It should be in these 2 days. That fellow is truly a bastard. Right now, I have only recovered my memories and have yet to recover my strength. I simply cannot deal with him. Yue looked at Yang Tianyi and said, Yang Tianyi, I'll let you out and you help me get rid of that guy. I guarantee that when you return to Star Law Divine Realm in the future, you won't get caught again. Chapter 2014. Yang Tianyi laughed, and patted Chen Zhang's shoulders. Don't worry, I've already promised brother, kill that stupid cow, and let him take out his divine soul and merge it with the bones. Yue was a little surprised. Chen Shang had actually gotten along so well with Yang Tianyi. Chen Shang, how do you know about the Ancestor Emperor? Yue was a little curious and looked at Yang Tianyi. Did this guy tell you? Since you were able to condense bones, it should be because this fellow helped you, right? Quote. Back then, when Yang Tianyi plundered a large pile of bone-level Dan's medicinal herbs from the Star Law Divine Realm, Yue naturally knew that she was in charge of this Star Moon Hell and she had a very good understanding of the criminals who were imprisoned inside. No, it was Wu Kang who told me to come in with this guy. I've already killed that guy. Chen Shang was already very relieved at this moment, because Yue could bring them out. Yue harumphed, it's good that Wu Kang died. He's killed me quite a few times. Even after Chen Shang saw Yue recover her memories, she actually wasn't affected much. She was extremely impressed with Yue's mental state. After all, what she had experienced all these years could be said to be extremely painful. Master Cat, when can you send us out? I'm anxious to see the outside world. I've been locked up here for a long time. Yang Tianyi said with a look of longing. I need a bit more time. Yue was not anxious at all. Yang Tianyi, how many bones do you have now? Can you beat that stupid cow? That bastard ambushed me when I was heavily injured, if not I wouldn't have been captured by him. Quote. I only have 3 bones, and I don't have a good one either. After so many years, my strength has also increased quite a bit. That stupid cow does not have much pressure on me. Yang Tianyi said. Master Cat, how did you receive such a heavy injury in the first place? As the law enforcer of Star Moon Hell, you should be very strong. Quote. It's those Divine Nations guys, I met them when I was passing by this place, and they were extremely arrogant. In the end, they surrounded me and attacked me. When I escaped to this place, I met that stupid cow and was ambushed by him. Yu said furiously, I have already remembered that Divine Nations. Once I recover my strength, I will definitely go and find them to settle the score. Chen Shang and Yang Tianyi both didn't think that Yue becoming like this would actually have something to do with the Divine Nations. Yu when will you recover your strength? Chen Shang didn't think that Yue also had a common enemy that he wanted to deal with, and that all the Divine Nations would want to deal with him as well. I need to have the next Star Moon banquet. I can only regain my memories after what happened just now. Chen Shang immediately understood what she meant by Star Moon banquet. It should be that samsara sacrifice. Can we leave now? Yang Tianyi was already impatient. I need some time. I need 2 to 3 days. Be patient. Yue smiled before flapping her wings and flying into the sky. Chen Shang and Yang Tianyi immediately saw a circle appear on Yue's flying body, accompanied by a few spirit grains. She was setting up the formation right now. The soil on the ground was formed from the power of the stars. It could be used to arrange a formation and produce a very strong force. Only she can use the power of the divine sense. See here, she is the master here. It's just that she doesn't have enough strength right now. If she's a little stronger, and is able to control this Star Moon Hell, then maybe she can get that stupid cow back. Yang Tianyi was now certain that he would be able to leave soon. He was in a very good mood and his face was full of smiles. Yang Tianyi lay on the ground and laughed. Look at the sky above this place again, because you will never be able to see it again. After we go out, I'm looking forward to testing my 3 bones. I hope that stupid cow is stronger, so that I can have a good time later. Quote. Chen Shang was completely speechless. Other people would always hope that their opponent would be weaker and better, but this Yang Tianyi was hoping that her opponent would be stronger and better. Brother Yang, don't lose when the time comes. Chen Shang joked. I know the power of that stupid cow. Although he has enjoyed the power of the Star Moon Banquet for so many years, he has been sleeping the entire time. He probably could not absorb it that fast, only by that method. Mr. Cat is very special, so she can have the Star Moon Banquet. Only an existence like her can quickly digest this much power, not that stupid cow. Yang Tianyi said, when the time comes, I'll kill him and try my best to capture his divine soul. Furthermore, his divine deity should also contain quite a bit of the power of Star Moon Banquet. It would be best if I can give it to Mr. Cat. Yu was still setting up the teleportation formation. If she was the one who was going out, it would be very easy for her, but right now she had to get Chen Shang and the prisoner out. It would take a lot of effort. Brother, after I settle this stupid cow, I need to make a trip back to the Star Law Divine Realm to find a divine soul that I am satisfied with and merge it into my bones as soon as possible. When I finish all of this, I will come back to find you all. I don't have enough strength, so I won't be able to face those divine nations. Yang Tianyi was also very loyal. He was very clear that the reason he was able to leave this place now was all because of Chen Shang and Yue. As for Chen Shang and Yue, they both had enmity with the divine nations, and he felt that he would have to help Chen Shang and Yue to fight against the divine nations to repay their gratitude. Moon Child's formation took a long time to complete. She had to spend nearly 2 days to do so. That's enough. Quickly come in, I'll be able to leave after opening the formation. Yue said, I hope that stupid cow isn't outside. Yang Tianyi laughed out loud. It's great that he's outside. The moment I go out, I can beat him up. Yue had brought her own Star Moon Hell to this place, but was severely injured by the attacks of the divine nations. In the end, she was ambushed by the Ancestor Emperor, resulting in her becoming the Samsara Sacrifice's sacrifice. For many years, the higher-ups of the Star Moon divine race had been enjoying Yuer's Star and Moon Banquet, which was why they had become one of the 4 God-Beast clans. Yue stood on Chen Zhang's shoulder and shouted, I'm going to activate the formation. Chen Shang and Yang Tianyi nodded. Yue's body started to shine with a white light. The dirt on the ground suddenly started to shine. Made Chen Shang and Yang Tianyi feel like they were inside a sea of stars. This kind of beautiful scene didn't last long before Chen Shang and Yang Tianyi felt scorching hot flames. They had finally left Star Moon Hell and arrived outside. It's not that star graveyard? Chen Shang asked in shock when he saw that he was surrounded by prairie. Of course not. When I came in, I had already moved the triangular star stone. Yue was currently standing on top of the triangular flagstone, and the spirit grain on top of the triangular flagstone was still radiating light. Yang Tianyi laughed as he sprinted across the dark green prairie. I'm finally out, I'm finally seeing the light of day again, haha. Yue chuckled a few times, then kept the triangular star stone, which should have been taken in by her divine sense. Chapter 2015. When Yang Tianyi started laughing crazily, the earth started to shake and an extremely terrifying power burst out from his body. He excitedly tried out the power of the divine sense that had been suppressed for many years, and combined it with the 3 bones that he had condensed. The power became even more terrifying. Quickly stop, this place will be destroyed by you. Yue hastily called out. The plains and the mountains around them were currently violently shaking. Mountains had already collapsed in the distance. When Yang Tianyi heard Yue, he immediately controlled his own strength. It was rare to see flowers and plants. He did not want to cause trouble. Save your strength for that stupid cow. This fellow probably hasn't come out yet, otherwise he would have changed a long time ago. Yue laughed tenderly. Yang Tianyi, you better not be messing around here. You don't want to be locked in that damned place again, right? Yang Tianyi immediately shook his head. I'd rather die than go back to that place. Master Cat, you promised me that if I helped you get rid of that stupid cow, I won't be locked in Star Moon Hell again. Yue smiled. I did promise you, but only if you don't do something too outrageous. Otherwise, I won't be able to protect you. Chen Shang took a deep breath of the outside air, and then, he also tested circulating the 6 realms power to his left arm. After using the bones on his left arm suddenly trembled, because of the sudden powerful force produced when the six realms' power and bones clashed, causing Chen Shang, who was not used to it, to have difficulty controlling it. So powerful, Chen Shang exclaimed. If he had a little more bones, his strength could be imagined. Although it was just a lower god, Chen Shang relied on the double bone level on his arm, his strength comparable to a upper heavenly god, so if he fused with the powerful divine soul and entered the bones, his strength would become even more terrifying. Strange, you only managed to cultivate a single bones, so your strength shouldn't be so terrifying. Yue sat on Chen Zhang's left shoulder, and she could very clearly feel the power that had just exploded out of Chen Zhang's left arm. It was truly very frightening. Yue, who had regained her memories, was a very ancient ranker, the law enforcer of the Star Law Divine Realm. From the way Yang Tianyi treated her, he knew that a law enforcer like Yue was extremely terrifying. Yet now, they did not understand why Chen Zhang's strength was so terrifying. This kid is a monster. What he condensed out was the double bone level, and there's actually 2 bones in one of his arms. I have never heard of such a thing. Yang Tianyi only ate 2 bone level Dan-s before he cultivated double bone level. Back then, he had eaten a lot of bone level Dan-s medicine and his tongue was numb from it, but he was only able to cultivate 3 bones pills. But the most amazing thing about Chen Shang was that in his growth dimension, only 1 set of bones could be produced from a single place, but he had miraculously managed to condense 2. After Chen Shang combined with the 6 realms power, he almost couldn't control that kind of terrifying power. Double bone level, Yue cried out in alarm, is this for real? After saying that, she fluttered her wings and flew up, hugging Chen Zhang's left arm. In just a moment, she had confirmed that there were indeed 2 bones inside Chen Zhang's arm. When Chen Shang saw Yue, he was startled and hurriedly asked, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Of course it's good news. Even though this kind of situation had happened before, it was extremely rare. A fellow who could cultivate double bone level was extremely terrifying when it came to the later stages, especially when one needed to strengthen their bones to raise their strength. At that time, it will be extremely difficult to raise even a little bit, and with the double bone level, you will have an extra set of bones. Quote. Yue's tone was also filled with jealousy and envy, as she continued, do you know what it means to have an extra bones? That fellow with a lower bones can be completely crushed like you. Quote. Chen Shang laughed. Right now, I'm still far from that kind of limit. Normally, what level would I have to reach to rely on raising my bones? The 100 gods level is the limit. At that time, I will need to strengthen my bones and use it to break through the limits of my own strength. In theory, the divine soul contained within can be very strong, and normally, it will enter through the late stages of the divine soul. For example, right now, your bones already has a set of divine soul. Yang Tianyi interrupted, but it's extremely dangerous. The fusion of the 2 types of divine soul is already very unstable, it's very likely to be like refining pills and explode. One of them is gone. Yue said, at that time, in order to increase my strength a little, there's no other way. Chen Shang curled his lips, you're saying that kind of realm is easy to reach, I only have 2 divine deities right now, and I still need 98 more divine deities to reach. I still don't know how many years it will take. Yue tenderly snorted, what do you know, brat? With your innate talent, going to that realm is only a matter of time, so you must definitely choose your first soul of bones, otherwise you will have to take the risk later when you need to increase your bones. There were many fellows from the 100 gods level in the Star Law Divine Realm. After being in the Star Law Divine Realm for so many years, many of them had already reached the peak of their existence. The so-called peak level is 100 gods level, the 9 bones. Quote. Yang Tianyi laughed and said, Master Cat, do you think it's possible for Brother Chen Shang to use double bone level every time he condenses his bones? This, Yue thought for a moment, then immediately shook her head. Definitely not, it's already extremely difficult to come out with a double bone level. If he comes out every time, he'll end up with 18 bones in the end. When Chen Shang thought about the 98 divine deity he still had to cultivate, he could not help but sigh. This must be a very long road. Big brother Yang, come back with us first. If that ancestor emperor appears, he will definitely come looking for us. It won't be too late for you to take action then. Bringing Yang Tianyi back to the Heroes Gathering Divine City was no big deal, what's more, this was a very strong guy. Yang Tianyi nodded his head. Anyway, I've been locked up for so long, I still want to explore this world. Just as Chen Shang was about to open the spatial tunnel, Yue and Yang Tianyi's expressions suddenly changed. The stupid cow is awake, this guy actually became so powerful. Yang Tianyi, are you able to handle it? Yue asked with worry. Yang Tianyi said with a serious face, you can, but I need to merge a divine soul with my own. Yue replied, I'll gift you with a set of divine soul. Although it's not that good, it's still much better than fusing with your own divine soul. When necessary, he could also merge his own divine soul into his own. Chapter 2016. Yue took out a pearl from nowhere and handed it to Yang Tianyi. Yang Tianyi looked at the blue flickering flame inside the bead, and asked, this divine soul is very familiar, I think I've seen it somewhere before. This is Star Divine Soul. After the destruction of some sun-like stars, it is possible that they would give birth to this kind of Star Divine Soul. I have only collected this for many years. Yue said. Yang Tianyi was surprised, and laughed, your divine soul is not bad, why didn't you just give it to this kid? That ancestor emperor's divine soul might not even be as good as this. Quote. No, that stupid cow has quite a bit of divine soul. If we give it to Chen Shang to retrieve the soul, he only needs to take out most of the divine soul and the divine deity of that stupid cow, and then let him refine everything into a whole. That would be the strongest. Yue said. Chen Shang had the heavenly alchemy, so fusing divine soul and divine deity that were of the same origin was simply too easy. This was something Chen Shang had never thought of before. Yang Tianyi nodded his head. He knew that Chen Shang had very good pill refining skills, and laughed, then I will not be courteous, it is just that when the time comes, I will need some time to fuse them. Currently, in this place, the ancestor emperor who had just woken up was the strongest, no one could deal with him unless he personally took action. However, Yue knew that the ancestor emperor was also connected to the divine nations. Yue had a very bad impression of those divine nations. When she first arrived here, she was attacked by the strong warriors of the divine nations. So Yue placed her hopes on Yang Tianyi, and furthermore, after Yang Tianyi killed the Star Moon Ancestor Emperor, he could still obtain divine deity from them. Yue was very clear that the reason she had the chance to recover her memories was all because Chen Shang had risked his life to save her, and she also liked to stay by Chen Zhang's side. Go back to the Heroes Gathering Divine City and fuse with them. When the time comes, we will provide you with a place. But when you go to that city, you must converge and not destroy it. Just now, Yang Tianyi had almost destroyed this beautiful grassland. Very quickly, Chen Shang and Yue brought Yang Tianyi back to Heroes Gathering Divine City. The Heroes Gathering Divine City's great assembly was called the Assembly of the Supreme Gods. The elites from the various forces in the Super God realm were gathered here to compete with each other, and if there were any good seedlings, they would be selected by the divine nations and sent into the world of the divine nations to be nurtured. This was something that many outstanding young disciples looked forward to, so when the time came, everyone would definitely fight with all their might. Chen Shang brought Yang Tianyi to his shop. Right now, the shop was closed, but there was someone inside. Feng Yuji and Shui Bingyan were both here. When they saw Chen Shang and Yue had returned, they were extremely happy because they were extremely worried about Chen Shang. Bingyan, Yue shouted with her sweet voice, then happily threw herself into Shui Bingyan's embrace. Hello elder brother Shen, this big brother is. When Shui Bingyan saw Chen Shang, he immediately greeted him and then looked at him. He's big brother Yang, he needs a basement now. Chen Shang smiled and caressed Shui Bingyan's hair. Yue replied, I know where it is. I'll take him there. Yang Tianyi cupped his fists towards Feng Yuji and Shui Bingyan, and then hurriedly followed Yue. Who is this person? Feng Yuji hurriedly went forward to hug Chen Shang, because she found out from Yue that Chen Shang had met with danger. Otherwise, he wouldn't have not returned even at the start of the convention. Chen Shang kissed her small mouth and said, It's all right, just now, big brother Yang was a good person who helped me. Furthermore, he still has to help Yue to defeat the enemy. Right, aren't you going to watch the convention begin? Feng Yuji shook his head. I didn't hear any news about you, I don't want to go anywhere. The White Tiger and Vermilion Bird have also gone to join in the fun, they have been chatting with Mu Chen and Xiao Chongla very much. Quote. Yue flew back, saying with a smile, that guy has already gone into seclusion. Once he defeats that stupid cow, we'll be safe. Feng Yuji asked curiously, what exactly happened to you two? I keep having the feeling that you are hiding something big. Quote. Let me say it, Yuei hurriedly shouted, because the moment she recovered her memories, she immediately told Feng Yuji and Shui Bingyan that she was in trouble and then hurriedly left. She didn't even have time to tell Feng Yuji and Shui Bingyan about her own matters. Chen Shang asked, the great games have begun, is it okay if we don't go? It's fine, we are only announcing the start of the conference. Today, we will be competing in other matches, we will be refining shopping Dan tomorrow. Feng Yuji said. Yuei began to recount her experiences, how she was besieged by divine nations' rancors and then ambushed by them, becoming their sacrifice. Finally, she went to the moon slaughter devil nest to save Chen Shang. This is the bone-level Dan's medicine. Chen Shang took out 2 copies and gave it to Feng Yuji, then laughed, this is very easy to refine, you don't need me to teach you. These bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients are all low-grade, we have to make high-grade ones. Quote. Feng Yuji's face immediately blushed a little. She and Chen Shang had been separated for a period of time, and thinking about the pair cultivation's sweet and intoxicating feeling, she couldn't help but feel lost in her heart. Chen Shang still had a bone-level Dan, he said, Bing Yan, try eating one first, after cultivating bones, you will become stronger. Yuei said, Bing Yan is a Tao spirit, she has already cultivated a body similar to a human's, and might even be stronger than a human's. Furthermore, her comprehension towards natural strength is deeper, so cultivating bones isn't too difficult. Let me teach her. Quote. Feng Yuji rubbed Yuei's back, and laughed. Yuei, you can't possibly have always been a little kitten, right? You were definitely not like this in the past, you should have also cultivated out your bones by now. Quote. Of course, I only need to have the star and moon feast to recover my strength. At that time, I can also take human form. Yuei smiled and said, Bing Yan, let's go. Yuei had already seen through the expressions of Chen Shang and Mu Yuro just now. Chen Shang and Feng Yuji did not enter the room, but went into the pill refining room instead. They still had some bone-level Dan's ingredients, and Feng Yuji also needed to condense his bones, so they decided to first refine the pills, and as for dual cultivation, that was tonight. Chen Shang spent a lot of time refining bone-level Dan in the Divine Sense Sea, but it only took 4 hours to refine a furnace outside. There were a total of 5 pills. Are you going to eat now? Chen Shang asked. No, we'll eat after the convention ends. At that time, we might need some time. Feng Yuji shook his head. When they came out of the refining room, they saw Yuei and Shui Bingyan in the hall, and knew that Shui Bingyan did not manage to cultivate bones out of the pellet. There are still 9 pills here, take them. Chen Shang refined 5 pills, Feng Yuji refined 4. It will definitely work this time. Yuei and Shui Bingyan then entered the secret room. Chapter 2017. On the morning of the second day, Chen Shang, who was sleeping soundly, heard Yuei's sweet laughter, and immediately woke up. Last night, he did not dual cultivate with Feng Yuji to condense spirit orbs, but rather went through the sweetest time with her. That kind of gentle and intoxicating sweetness also made him sleep very soundly. Bing Yan has cultivated the bones, and after she assimilates the divine soul, she will become stronger. When Yuei saw Chen Shang walking out, she quickly told him the good news. So fast. Chen Shang was also happy. How many bone-level Dan were used? 4 pills. In her eyes, condensing the first bones from 10 bone-level Dan to less was not bad at all. Sister Feng, when will you start? Let me teach you, Yu said. When I'm done with the competition, I'll have to trouble you. Feng Yuji smiled gently and carried Yuei over. She was liking this little kitty more and more. There's no need to be polite, we're all on the same side. Yuei giggled. Chen Shang sat down and started to eat the dim sum Shui Bingyan had made. During this time, Shui Bingyan had learned to cook a lot of food. Yuei, is that Star Law Divine Realm using Shen Yuan stone as well? Chen Shang asked. I never thought that Shen Yuan stone flowed this much. It's normal, because Shen Yuan stone are easier to absorb. Sometimes, Shen Yuan stone that are exchanged with ordinary herbs get a stronger power than those medicinal herbs. Yuei nodded her head. However, if you want to sell pills in Star Law Divine Realm, then you definitely won't do. Once you are discovered, you will definitely be arrested. Chen Shang had already heard this from Yang Tianyi before, so he felt that he would definitely go to the Star Law Divine Realm in the future. Let's go and participate in the convention. Feng Yuji said. We were the first to fight in the 10th hall. As the youngest disciples of the 10th hall, Chen Shang and Feng Yuji were also extremely outstanding. The regeneration Dan they refined had long ago become very famous, and as a result, they earned a lot of Shenyuan stone. The competition venue was in that huge plaza. When Chen Shang and the others arrived, they saw that there was a huge flag on the plaza, with the word, "Pill," written on it. When Chen Shang and Feng Yuji arrived, it caused a huge commotion. Back then, the regeneration Dan's Chen Shang refined with his palm shocked many young disciples of alchemist and other forces. Chen Shang could easily refine a middle-stage regeneration Dan, but now he had to participate in the shopping Dan's competition, which made the pressure on the disciples participating in the shopping Dan competition to be huge. In the ranking of the inferior stage pill gods, there were also many medial stage pill gods who could refine Zongpin Dan. They all felt a little regretful now, as they felt that participating in the medial stage pill god would be much easier than this. The competition between the inferior stage pill gods started first, and ended in 3 battles to determine the victor. The competition would end in the morning, so many alchemists were under a lot of pressure. A single morning was only that little bit of time, yet they had to compete 3 times. Disciples, please enter the stage. The one who presided over the competition was Old Iron Cock. He walked to the competition venue of the lower stage god of pills. Only after the competition between the demigod rank had finished did he reach the level of a god. Chen Shang used the plate he got from registering to enter the competition. Before entering, Chen Shang had already heard Luo Tianjin's sound transmission in his mind, telling him about his important opponent. Luo Tianjin and 3 Gu brothers didn't see Chen Shang yesterday, so they were very worried, thinking that Chen Shang had gone out to play again. In a few of the buildings beside the competition plaza, a few well-dressed, middle-aged men who seemed to be very powerful were all looking at Chen Shang. That's him. He cultivates the god-murdering sword techniques in the heavenly alchemy. A middle-aged man dressed in gold pointed at Chen Shang, and said, and the 6 realms mirrors is also in his hands. The other red-clothed middle-aged man said, what should we do now? These things are all on him. If we let him continue growing like this, he will become another heavenly divine lord or 6th divine lord. A middle-aged man wearing a blue robe said coldly, it wouldn't be easy for him to kill him. Didn't you see that he had a profound WU clothing on him? Killing him won't be easy, but crippling him won't be difficult. The golden-cloaked middle-aged man said, it's just that when the time comes, who will stop him? The Lord Howmaster of Supreme Divine Palace should be able to do that, but it's easier to deal with him. The middle-aged man looked at the others and asked for their opinion. In the end of the competition, we'll secretly make a move and capture him. We'll see if he's willing to submit to us. If he's unwilling, we can just kill him. If he really can't be killed, then let him become trash. Middle-aged man in black armor who had not spoken all this while spoke out. His ice-cold voice was filled with power, and it was obvious that he had a lot of prestige amongst the few middle-aged men. The other middle-aged men nodded. I wonder if the other divine nations are hiding here, and don't let them snatch them away. Furthermore, they should have already heard about Chen Zhang's situation, with the 6 realms mirrors, god-murdering sword techniques and heavenly alchemy on him. Even if we cannot obtain them, we cannot let them obtain them. The middle-aged man in black armor said. The golden-cloaked man said, isn't this inappropriate? If they knew that we did so, that wouldn't be appropriate. Middle-aged man in black armor laughed coldly. So when we attack, we have to hide ourselves and we can't let them know. We have to be faster than them, of course, even if they knew, what can they do to us? Chen Shang, who was familiarizing himself with his opponents on the stage, did not know that on the buildings around the plaza, the experts sent by the divine nations were hiding and scheming how to deal with him. Although Chen Shang did not know, but he could guess that the rankers sent by the 9 gods nation would definitely make a move against him during this period of time. Thus, he had already asked Feng Yuji to rope in some of the rankers within the Supreme Divine Palace to help him find a helper. Of course, with the vermilion bird and the white tiger around, he was extremely at ease. With Yang Tianyi, who had cultivated up to the 3rd bones, at the bottom of the shop, he was even more at ease. There were more than 200 participants participating in the demigods competition, and compared to the crowd of disciples that stood around the plaza, these 200 named demigod could be said to be very few, and there were only about 10 young faces. Other than Supreme Divine Palace's people, there were also 6 Realms Divine Palace's people as well as the other powerhouses, and there were also young demigod. At this moment, over 200 strong men walked in with a large vat filled with all kinds of low-grade divine medicines. These brawny men walked to the side of the 200 over alchemy gods and put down the large vat. This should be the magical pill used in the competition. Chapter 2018. There were a lot of divine medicines in the huge vat, and they were all of good quality. At this moment, all of the alchemists in the arena could tell the quality based on the smell of the divine medicines. The disciples that were participating in the competition all stood up and carefully looked at the divine medicines within the large vat. Many of them frowned because they did not recognize these divine medicines. Chen Shang didn't know either. In the knowledge that Feng Yuji had passed on to him, there was nothing related to these divine medicines. These divine medicines were all obtained by those fellows from divine nations. They will give you the pill formulas later and have you all refine them according to the formulas. Luo Tianjin whispered to Chen Shang. Chen Shang quietly swept across the crowd and realized that there were a few who were calm, 3 of them were young, and the other 2 were old. They all looked calm when they saw the strange divine medicines, and Chen Shang suspected that someone behind them was also telling them what the rules were. In these vats, there are 2 jade plates and pill formulas. The first round of the competition is to refine the shopping dan within the limited amount of pills. Once the sand in the hourglass is emptied, this round will be the end of the competition. Old Ironcock pointed to an hourglass in the distance. It looked relatively small, so he could only hold on for 4 hours at most. In just 4 hours, he would have to refine 2 batches of shopping dan, and it was the kind of shopping dan that had never been refined before. What Chen Shang was more concerned about was that there were only 2 types of pill formulas, but there were too many divine medicines in the huge vat. There were at least 100 types of low-ranked divine medicines, and there were even more than 10 large black tree roots beneath them. Chen Shang suspected that these 2 shopping dan would need to use up all of the divine medicine in the huge vat. If that was the case, then refining one of the shopping dan would require at least 10 different sets of low-ranked divine medicine. You can start looking for the pill formulas now. After Old Ironcock finished speaking, the hourglass started to flip and the disciples participating in the tournament started to curse in their hearts. Before this, Chen Shang had already clearly seen the inside of the large jar with his divine sense, so he quickly took out 2 jade tablets and dripped some blood into his divine sense to take a look. Just as he had guessed before, the 2 divine pellets that he wanted to refine required dozens of sets of divine pellets. Inside the jade token, there was only the recipe, not the name of the supreme dan. What is the purpose of these divine pellets? I can't see anything from these ingredients. These divine nations are really mysterious. Chen Shang planned to first refine the pellets that required the most amounts of mystical pills, and he would need 70 of them. Picking out the divine medicines from the vats also required a lot of time, as this was a huge test of the alchemist's speed in recognizing the divine medicines. Right now, many of the alchemists were complaining in their hearts, because they felt that just picking the divine medicines out of the vats and handling them a little was already a long time ago. Chen Shang did not feel anything, he treated it as a challenge. From the very start of the match, he wasn't competing with anyone else, but rather, he was fighting against time. These alchemists had very high requirements in many aspects. If they were impatient, they would start to get very irritated right now, so when they were sorting through the divine medicines, it would also have a huge impact, causing their speed to become very slow. Those who weren't confident enough would have the thought of giving up, feeling that they would definitely lose. This sort of person was already destined to lose. Of course, there were many outstanding alchemists present who were able to keep their cool and calmly go over to pick and choose the divine medicine. Chen Shang had already heard quite a few sighs and complaints, because there were other kinds of mystical pills inside the huge vat. They were not used to refine the 2 types of divine pills, but were purposely mixed inside to increase the difficulty of the competition. The divine medicines that have been mixed in are somewhat similar to the divine medicines used to refine the competing divine pellets. If one is not careful, they will be able to recognize their mistakes. Is this a test of your ability to discern medicinal herbs? Chen Shang also felt that it was a little difficult to refine at this time. After half an hour, finally, someone started to refine pills. This caused many people to focus their gaze on this person. It was an extremely luxuriously dressed old man, the alchemy god of 6 realms divine palace. The pill furnace used by this old man was also very big. As he refined the pills, he sorted out the divine medicines he had poured out of the vat. He also had to sort out the second type of divine pills that were needed to concoct in the competition. This way, a great deal of time could be saved, and many of the participating disciples also planned on doing so. It wasn't easy to do this, especially when one was concocting a strange divine pill. If one was distracted and went to pick and choose divine medicines, it was very easy to fail. Chen Shang did not do that, because these types of divine pills were unfamiliar to him. He had to be careful, since he only needed to succeed in refining 2 types of divine pills in this competition. That old man is Xiao Chongla's disciple that he just accepted. Although he is very old, his strength is not bad and he is very talented. His talent in pill refining was dug out by Xiao Chongla. Luo Tianjin sent a sound transmission to Chen Shang. According to what I know, there are at least 5 people here who have refined those 2 divine pellets. This is because the people that the divine nations has sent have all come in contact with these 5 pill gods before. Chen Shang immediately understood why the old man from the 6 realms divine palace would be so fast and nimble. This was the only way to gain the most time. Chen Shang changed his strategy. He would first pick out 2 types of miracle medicines before starting to refine them. In a short period of time, there were more than 20 people participating in the competition who started fire to concoct pills, but Chen Shang had yet to begin, and now, an hour had already passed. Chen Shang picked out the divine medicine and carefully examined it again. If the divine medicine was wrong, it would be equivalent to failure, so Chen Shang chose this point very carefully. I'll just use this cauldron. It should be sufficient. Chen Shang took out a relatively large pill furnace. This pill furnace was very ordinary. He had asked Feng Yuji to prepare these for him. It was not that Chen Shang did not want to use a good pill furnace, it was just that he had not found anything satisfactory, so he brought a lot of normal pill furnaces with him. There's still an hour left, it should be enough. Chen Shang looked at the hourglass and then placed the first batch of God's pills medicinal ingredients into the furnace. There was a total of 70 sets. Chen Shang was very famous amongst the inferior level pill gods, especially with his miraculous pill refining skills. It did not follow common sense at all. According to the pill formulas, there should be a sequence of 70 types of godly medicines, but he threw them all in one go. What was shocking was not only that, but also that he threw the other 60 sets of ingredients in. Those 60 sets of divine medicines were meant to be used to refine the second kind of shopping dan. If one pill furnace could concoct 2 similar divine medicines at the same time, it wouldn't be surprising at all. Even a pill god with a decent level would be able to do so. But right now, the divine pellets Chen Shang refined were 2 different kinds. There was a huge difference between the 2 types of divine pellets, but he actually threw them into a furnace to refine them, and this was his first time refining one. Chapter 2019. This was also because Chen Shang had no other choice. He had planned to use 2 pill furnaces, but with 2 pill furnaces, he needed to be distracted even more. Now that the 2 divine pills were in the same furnace, although he needed to be distracted, it wasn't as serious as the 2 pill furnaces. The alchemy that Chen Shang used was a original source refining that he had comprehended himself. Using this alchemy to refine divine pills was easier to control, which was why he did it. On the surface, it seemed like he had to take both sides into consideration, but in reality, he had now divided the 100 over divine medicines into more than 100 separate regions, and was going to use his flames to quickly refine them and search for spirit blood S. In the past, when he refined those divine pellets that he had never refined before, he would only use the original source refining to refine them bit by bit. But now that he had the time to do so, he could only use the flames to quickly refine them according to his own experience. He's using the heavenly alchemy now. I have heard of the heavenly alchemy, but I have never seen how it is used, so I can't tell how he refined it either. He was also from divine nations, and although he looked very young, and his clothes were relatively ordinary, his status was much more noble than the middle-aged men who were discussing how to kill Chen Shang previously. The red-clothed man watched from the window, and an old man beside him said, "Young noble, how about we capture him and have him teach you heavenly alchemy? I can make my move now." Quote, "No, I heard that cultivating the heavenly alchemy requires a lot of luck. I don't want this kind of forceful method, I want to let nature take its course. Don't do it, I want to see how this Chen Shang passed this competition, and see if he is as godly as the legends say." The red-clothed man's voice was somewhat severe. He was obviously criticizing the old man for his barbaric actions just now. The old man's expression turned to one of fear as he hurriedly said, "Young master is right, this old servant knows he is wrong. It's good that you know your wrongs." The red-clothed man nodded his head, then asked, in the competition arena, the first few inferior grade pill gods who started refining pills were all chosen by the other divine nations, right? Our divine nations would definitely not do such a thing. We must select the truly outstanding alchemists to cultivate. Sir, if Chen Shang wins, are you going to bring him back to the divine nations? I heard that many divine nations want to capture him. Even if they can't, they have to destroy him. The old man said. I've heard of this before, so let nature take its course. The red-clothed man casually said. He didn't force anything, everything was as it should be. It had already been 2 hours, and many of the participating disciples were sweating profusely. As for the old man from 6 Realms Divine Palace, he had a relaxed expression on his face, as if victory was in his grasp. But the one who attracted the most attention was Chen Shang, because he was refining 2 different divine pellets within the same furnace, but there were many different divine pellets, 2 unfamiliar divine pellets. Seeing that he persisted for so long without making any mistakes, one could tell that he had a chance. So that's how it is. This first round isn't about pill refining, but about mental state. Actually, these 2 pills are all very easy to forge. They are just a test of one's patience and confidence. Chen Shang never thought that he would find spirit blood from the divine medicines so quickly. Furthermore, it was very easy to fuse them together. Chen Shang was curious now, why would those divine nations open a back door for some of the disciples here? Could it be that he had already been selected by the divine nations? Completed. The old man from 6 Realms Divine Palace opened his eyes and said indifferently. He was the first to start a fire to refine pills, and also the first to refine a pill. He opened the pill furnace. Inside were 4 dazzling divine pills. Although he did not know what kind of pills they were, they looked pretty good. Next, he began the second batch. As he began, more and more people began to complete the first set of divine pills. Currently, 10 people had already finished the first furnace and were beginning to refine the second furnace. As for the second furnace, it was the most difficult and had a lot of medicinal ingredients. Another hour passed in the blink of an eye. It hadn't been long since the end of the competition. Chen Shang has not been refined yet, is there a mistake? It's all been lit here. Ji Yu Lao San said. What's the rush? Can't you see that Chen Shang is still very calm? The oldest Ji Yu replied, it's not like you didn't see this little brat using his palm to refine pills last time. I wouldn't even be surprised if he had any tricks up his sleeve. Feng Yuji laughed. Even though you say that, he is always able to catch me by surprise. Luo Tianjin scoffed. These divine pellets are all useless divine pellets, they can be merged anytime they want. Eating these kind of divine pellets is just making me feel comfortable, it's really a scam. Luo Tianjin had already looked at those medicinal ingredients very carefully just now, so he could recognize some of them. Look, that old man has finished the second furnace. This guy is really amazing. Xiao Chou shouted. He did not know that the old man was at the back door, he had already refined it once, which was why he was so fast. After becoming the first person to complete the task, the elder did not have any expression on his face. He slowly took out the 4 white divine pills from the pill furnace and handed them over. Chen Shang felt that it was strange. If he and a few others who went through the back door were already selected by the divine nations, why would they come and participate in this kind of competition? Could it be for the sake of entering the divine nations in name? Chen Shang suddenly understood. Looks like all these fellows gave the people sent by the divine nations a lot of benefits. Those who came from the divine nations were definitely rich and powerful, but they were still bribed. From this, it could be seen how expensive the few people from the back door must have paid. Chen Shang suddenly thought that the old man from 6 Realms Divine Palace had entered the divine nations. Could it be that it was arranged by Xiao Chongla? Most likely, only the Hall Master of the 6 Realms Divine Palace, Xiao Chongla, could come into contact with the experts sent by the divine nations and give them some benefits so that they could bring the old man back to the divine nations. There was not much time left, only 6 people could finish it. While Chen Shang was still refining pills, he was not in a rush, because he believed that he could finish it before the time was up. All right, Chen Shang shouted, patting the lid of his pill furnace. It was half the height of a man, it was as big as a water jar. After he was done, there were still some hourglass left. Previously, many people were nervous for Chen Shang, because the time was almost up. Seeing that he had finished shouting, they also wanted to see if he had really completed it. After all, he was concocting 2 pills in a single pill furnace. There was a middle-aged man by Old Ironcock's side. This middle-aged man was responsible for inspecting the divine pellets that were refined, and it looked like he came from divine nations. He said to Chen Shang, "Take out the divine pellets that you have refined." Chen Shang did not immediately take out the divine pill, but instead walked towards the middle-aged man who was in charge of inspecting the pill furnace. Chapter 2020. The pill god who was in charge of inspecting and accepting the divine pill raised his hand, and indicated that Chen Shang should not continue carrying the pill furnace up, and said, "There's no need to bring the pill furnace up, you can just directly give the divine pill to me." The divine pills refined during the competition were not his own. This point was not objected to by all the participants. As long as the divine pills were to pass, he would pass the first round. Chen Shang continued to walk up, and said with a smile, "It's extremely necessary." The middle-aged man did not say anything and waited for Chen Shang to bring the pill furnace over. The road was not far. Chen Shang quickly walked to the stage and put down the pill furnace. They were high up, invisible to the gods below, only visible to those on the buildings at the edge of the field. Chen Shang opened the lid of the pill furnace and a ray of red light shone. The light enveloped the entire hole in the furnace, making it impossible to see what kind of godly pill was inside. Seeing these clouds of light, many pill gods' first reactions were that they thought this was the spirit of the divine pill. Generally, only the highest quality divine pills would be able to reach the peak of perfection. In the past, Chen Shang had also refined pills of this quality, it was just that they were all below the holy pellet level. He had never refined a divine pellet before, and very few people had the strength to do so. "It's not pill light, but..." When Luo Tianjin saw it clearly, he was so shocked that he couldn't say a word. At this time, many people had also seen it. The reason why there was such a strong light was not because of the divine pills, but because there were too many divine pills inside. The middle-aged man who was in charge of inspecting the pill furnace was stunned. He had seen it clearly the moment he had opened the lid. He was stunned for a while before recovering from his shock. He took a deep breath and said with a trembling voice, "A total of 347 pills." The disciples that were originally spectating at the side of the plaza were all whispering to each other. When they heard the middle-aged man's words, they all immediately quietened down. The person who produced the most pills was Six Realms Divine Palace's pill god. He was the first to complete it. His output surprised many pill gods, though it was just a few pills. But now, Chen Shang had more than 300 pills. Many people had not seen it with their own eyes, so they would rather believe in the sun formula than believe that Chen Shang could refine a few hundred pills in one go. Although it was just a shopping den, it was still difficult to refine. The middle-aged man held up the pill furnace and poured out the more than 300 divine pills, each of which was glowing brightly. These were the two types of pills combined, one was golden and the other was white. These over 300 supreme Dan beads were piled up in a small pile on the ground. One glance was enough to tell that these were absolutely supreme Dan beads. The pill gods that produced the pills from before, all added together, were not as many as him. Because these pills were all useless and had so many medicinal ingredients, Chen Shang was able to refine 2 or 3 of them using his refining method. That was why he had so many pills in the end. Gongzi, you're also an apothecary. What's going on? The old man behind the red-clothed man was extremely astonished. His face was filled with disbelief. The red-clothed man frowned as he pondered, shaking his head. "I don't know, I've already refined this kind of divine pill before. Back when I was taking the exam to refine these 2 kinds of divine pills, the difficulty of refining them wasn't too high. At that time, I could only refine 3 pills each." Quote, "Young master, the reason Chen Shang is so powerful is definitely because of the heavenly alchemy, we must definitely get him." Greed flashed in the old man's eyes. The red-clothed man said indifferently, "It's mine, it will always be mine. If I were to snatch the heavenly alchemy, I think I wouldn't be able to be like him, because the heavenly alchemy doesn't belong to me in the first place. If the heavenly alchemy is mine, then I don't even need to snatch it." Quote. The old man couldn't help but sigh, because his young master was such a person. "Young master, if you can obtain the heavenly alchemy, then the emperor's seat would most likely be yours." The emperor had repeatedly hinted that the emperor's position and everything about him would be passed on to the most capable prince. "Young master, although you have decent talent, but the other princes?" The red-clothed man faintly smiled. "I've never thought of fighting for the throne. I just need to watch from the side. If I participate in this kind of boring and foolish thing, wouldn't I be watched by others?" The old man was speechless. If one obtained the throne, they could control a divine nations and had supreme power. If they received the inheritance, their strength could rise to another level. There were so many princes and princes in the divine nations. However, only the red-clothed man did not have such thoughts. The rankers sent by the divine nations were even more eager to get the heavenly alchemy. They all thought that as long as they could get the heavenly alchemy, they would need to refine a few hundred of the divine pellets just like Chen Shang had done. Chen Shang already knew that the rankers sent by the divine nations were nearby, so he purposely put on a high profile. The reason he did that was to make these people take action against him, and at that time, he would let Yang Tianyi kill them all. After Chen Shang had passed, there was still one more person who had finished refining the hourglass when it was just finished. Now, there was a total of 5 people who could enter the next round. Originally, there were many disciples who entered the competition, but now there were only 8 left, showing just how difficult the next round would be. Right now, it was no longer the pill god who was competing with the pill god, but rather challenging the harsh rules of the competition. 3 matches were going to take place in half a day, so time was of the essence. The old iron cock announced the rules of the second round. There is no need for the second round. The 5 people who produce the most pills can enter the final round. Hearing this rule, the 3 pill gods who produced the least amount of pills felt extremely unwilling, but they did not dare to say anything. They could only walk out of the arena with regret. Chen Shang guessed that the rules for the second round had definitely been changed at the last minute, because such a rule was simply too general, but there was nothing that he could do. After all, no one objected, and as a disciple participating in the competition, he naturally didn't dare to say anything. Just when Chen Shang was guessing this way, Luo Tianjin sent him a sound transmission. The rules for the second round were not like this, they suddenly changed. This should be because someone is worried about an uncontrollable situation occurring in this match. Quote. Old Iron Cock continued to speak. Now, the third round, if you can enter the top 3, you will receive a reward. The second and third place had 2 precious shopping Dan recipes. And the one in first place will receive the Zongpin Dan's pill formula. Quote. Old Iron Cock paused for a moment, then continued. The third rank's pill formula is the Beast Spirit Pellet, the second rank is the Clone Spirit Pellet, the first rank is the Life Soul Divine Pellet. Now that he had announced the rewards for the Divine Pellet formulas, Chen Shang felt a lot more at ease. Otherwise, if he were to suddenly receive a ranking, he would temporarily decide to give some garbage Divine Pellet formulas.